right, I'm being creative, you guys.
Welcome to the North American Honeybee Expo.
This is the way to be!
Good morning, welcome to the expo. No?
Do you want one?
I haven't yet.
Oh, go ahead.
Ready? I think it's right about there.
But I gotta come to Erie to do it. I ain't coming now. Like I said, Any questions? Sir? I got it. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you all for coming to the North American Honeybee Expo 2025. And thank you, Ethan, for not hitting those bad notes you did the other day during practice. Ethan's my brother. We played bluegrass music, played some country stuff and various things together. Ethan's 15 months younger than me, but a lot of people think that he's older because I shave and he doesn't, and I'm less mature, and a few other odds and ends. But being mature can be so boring. And you know what? You're fired. You know, what I love about the expo, though, is the people who do all of their unique things here. Because the bee industry was
Okay, so we're here with George,
Hey, Fred.
the Keeper's Hive. And we've talked about this because it's in my apiary now, but your fundraiser was really good, right?
Awesome.
And you met your target, your goal's done.
Exceeded our target.
Excellent. So you're the first interview for the North American Honeybee Expo,
Wow,
as
I'm
it
awesome.
should be. And here's what I like.
like
You
the
have
two-queen
your two-queen system.
Yeah.
We've done interviews before. We talked about the Keeper's Hive.
Sure.
Has there anything significant been changed since that interview, or can we just dive straight in on a double queen system?
I think the two-queen hive is pretty much the same. We have a hive that produces a huge amount of honey that's easy to manage, and it's the Keeper's Hive.
Okay, now when they get the Keeper's Hive from you guys, it does not come with a bottom board.
It doesn't come with a bottom board. It doesn't come with frames. It doesn't come with an outer cover. So
Okay.
it comes with basically as you see today, you know. So, but what's good about the Keeper's Hive is that all your standard equipment are going to work in it. So if you already have frames, if you already have bottom boards, if you already have top covers, you don't need to. You can just use what you have.
Okay.
Fred. So you don't need to. You can use what you're already using.
So now talk to us, what are the logistics in putting together 2 colonies of bees with a center honey super?
The logistics of it?
Yeah,
it's
give
simple.
us all right, it's simple. Let's go step by step, George.
So you get your hive, you assemble your hive, you put it out in the apiary, and you got to find 2 colonies, right? 2-queen hive needs 2 colonies. So we're going to go out and we're going to find colonies that overwintered, or we're going to buy a package or buy a nuke or make a split in the spring, and we're going to put 1 colony in one side and 1 colony in the other side. Pretty simple. The other nice thing about the Keeper's Hive, Fred, is it has a follower board, which can make the size of your brood chamber smaller. So when you're starting out a new colony that's oftentimes smaller, you don't have to have all 8 frames. You could start out in 4 or 5 frames so they don't get stressed out because they have too much space. And then you watch the colony grow, you watch this colony grow, you watch this colony grow, and eventually you're going to have to potentially do swarm control, because if you want to make a lot of honey, the last thing you want your bees to do is to swarm. So your options with the Keeper's Hive is to do the demery. Now this isn't fully set up, but you're going to do the demery You're going to give the queen more room to lay, and then all of a sudden you're going to have $100,000. We're never going to have $100,000. You're going to have 100,000 bees in the keeper's hive, ready to go find the forage for it, ready to go find the flowers that are blooming. It's a huge workforce. They come back and make a lot of honey.
Now, when they get up into the super, you've got a divider. So they're not actually, your storekeeper bees aren't putting honey away with one another. Is there ever a point where they're all mixing together above? We have a queen excluder down below.
Yeah, so we have separate brood chambers. So we have one on this side, we have one on this side. The first box we call the spacer box is divided, and then everything above that is not divided. So everything else they mix.
So your queen excluder goes here too? Where's it going?
Is there, Fred?
Oh, so it's built in. Nice. You've also changed materials.
We
This is now a plate glass, right?
We have, which is awesome. So our observation window is now tempered glass. What's nice about tempered glass is that it's not going to scratch, unlike most hives that use plexiglass for their windows that over time scratches. This is a tempered glass. The other nice thing about this piece is it locks into your frame guards. So everything is locked in, nice and secure. And then the hinge roof closes it all up. So everything locks in perfectly together and works really well, Fred.
Okay, explain this to me. 2 queens, 2 colonies, they get together in the honey super. Why do they get along up there?
Because they're all working together.
So storekeepers get along?
So we all get along in this world.
Okay, let's talk about it.
But it's a good question. Like, do we really, I get asked this a lot, do we really know what's going on when the foragers come together? Like, are they fighting? Do they get along? Do they cooperatively work towards it? Or does one colony say go there and one colony say go there? Or are they working together?
Or is there even some drift going on between these 2 boxes through the honey super?
Possible.
I'm not trying to blindside you, George. I'm just asking questions. All right. But so, because that could happen and it wouldn't really matter. It wouldn't cause a conflict. So when you have done this setup in your apiary,
correct,
with a 2-queen system, did you notice one side maybe building more brood than the other, or?
What I recommend doing now, which I didn't do 5 years ago when I started this journey, right now I recommend the bottom boards face in opposite directions, which I think is important for drift, honestly. You know, when you have the bottom boards facing in the same direction and one side's a little bit stronger, I think there's more tendency to drift towards that side. But with running the bottom boards in opposite directions, I see less drift and I see more equalness in the strength of both colonies. But with any when you're running 2 colonies in the same hive, you're always at risk for having one queen go away or one colony be stronger than the other because one queen's younger or one queen's better mated. And so 100% of the time, you're not going to have a 2-queen colony for the whole season. That's just not going to happen. I would say 80% of the time you have 2-queen colonies. But the cool thing about 2-colony systems is the honey production potential of that exceeds 2 single colonies. And that's been studied and been looked at a lot of times. It's just a matter of how to run it. And this system allows you to run it easily and potentially get that honey production benefit.
Okay, so describe your part of the country where you've been testing this out.
Well, now we have colonies all over the United States, Fred, with our Indigo. So we have colonies from California all the way up to Maine, down to Florida, but the majority of the testing has been done in southeast Pennsylvania, which is zone 6. So we have 4 seasons. Our winters generally get as cold as 10 degrees, basically, and have had great overwintering success. I mean, there's nothing different about this than honestly a traditional 10-frame.
Well, actually, for
box.
wintering, you've got a common wall, so you have nice and warm colonies down below because they are kept down because of the queen excluder. Or
correct.
What? Do you remove the queen excluder for the winter?
So we have 2 options to overwinter the 2-queen hive, right? So, and that's totally up to what you prefer. So option number 1 is to leave the queen excluder on and to take the frames out of the spacer box and basically run an 8-frame single deep through the winter and put your fondant and emergency food up here. So you're running 8 frames in the brood chamber with your emergency feed up above. The option number 2 would be to take your queen excluder out and leave 5 frames of honey up top here. So you get 8 frames in the brood chamber and 5 frames of honey up top, so the bees move up. That's my preference on what to do, but I've done both. So it all depends on how much honey do you want to harvest and how much do you want to feed going into winter. My preference is to leave the bees the honey and not feed a lot of sugar water. So I leave the 5 frames of honey in this box. I know other people who harvest all 250 pounds of honey and then feed them back sugar water or fondant in the winter.
Do you find that they concentrate their brood towards this common warm wall
In the winter?
any time of the year, when
No,
they're building
they're-
up in spring,
No,
or
I mean, I've-
you don't? Because sometimes when we push hives together, that common warm wall, they'll end up brooding up that section first, but you're not seeing that in this configuration.
The brood nest is symmetric and spherical and generally sits in the middle of this.
Each box,
Of the
okay.
box. In the winter, when the bees move up, they do tend to come together towards the middle if they're smaller to share heat. But generally, the other nice thing is on this hive, it's an 8-frame brood chamber. So there's 4 frames that are underneath the observation window, and there's 4 frames that are underneath the queen excluder. So sometimes the hive inspection is as simple as opening up the roof and looking at how many frames of bees do you have. And if you have frames of bees all the way out to the side, then you're probably okay. You're probably queen right, and you're probably good. If you're not queen right, you're going to see bees come out of that brood chamber and go elsewhere in the hive. So if you open up that frame and you only see a couple frames of bees, then you'd want to go further. But sometimes it's as simple as that. Just opening up the lid and visually inspecting, which is awfully nice to be able to do.
Which is the feature of the keeper's hive, that you don't have to lift off those boxes to access your brood. If somebody's just seeing this for the first time, you can beekeep from your seat. An easier way to manage bees.
You can see right away.
Do you have any questions?
So,
Paula's got some questions.
hey Paula,
I was going to type it to Fred, so I didn't interrupt his video, but thank you.
can I get in with Paula?
And for those who don't know, Paula's not only a friend of mine, she's also a Cornell University master beekeeper.
Wow.
So,
I am not a master beekeeper.
But you could,
Maybe.
just from experience.
okay.
So my question is about condensation. So
In the winter.
In the winters, do you leave the glass on top, and do you insulate this top in any way?
So yes and yes.
Okay.
So in the winter, we leave the observation window in place,
Okay.
and we put a 3/4 inch foam board on top of the observation window. So we just drop a foam board in there.
Okay, got it. All right. So
Now-
there's no issue with
No.
because of the insulation.
Now with that said, I typically overwinter with 5 frames up here of honey, and they tend to move in that direction
Anyway.
So in my bees, when I overwinter with 5 and 5 honey up there, I don't see a lot of bees here. They tend to move towards the middle
To the center and up.
and move
And
up.
you're obviously putting foam board up here as
I'm
well.
putting foam board up here.
Okay.
I tend not to put emergency feed on my hives unless they absolutely need it. So I will start the winter basically with 5 frames of honey up here, and I'll sort of once a month keep an eye on them. I often put a divided shim up here to start the winter, just in case, like come February, the bees are up here, and I think they're a little bit lighter, I can throw the fondant on that time. So at least I have the shim up there.
Yeah.
But and then people ask, do I wrap this? I don't wrap in general in southeast Pennsylvania, but there's nothing that prevents you from putting a wrap around there.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Fred.
Okay, so now,
Hey Fred.
George.
Now,
So,
what-
and thank you for giving us so much of your time, by the way.
I love you, Fred.
So we only have one colony. We don't have 2 yet. Can we start in this and just have one side in use and wait until later and populate the other side, or do you have a better recommendation?
I would probably wait until you have 2 colonies
2
in
full
this,
colonies.
honestly, because otherwise you're going to be very, your supers are really going to be offset from where your brood is. And
Okay.
I think I would probably wait until I had 2 colonies to start up this.
And what of your current offerings, equipment-wise here, what's your most popular so far? What are people really showing an interest in?
You know, as far as the orders to date, it's been 60% the one queen and 40% the 2 queen summer, because I really think they're just serving different beekeepers, right? The one queen is serving people who want a smaller high print, lighter supers. the two green is serving those people who want to make honey. So I think it's nice to be able to offer something to two different sets of beekeepers. So
Okay. Fantastic.
do
I
you
want to
think?
thank you, George.
Thanks, Fred.
And we already know people can go to thekeepershive.com. Right, and
or
it's
to
too
the
late.
YouTube channel and watch us on YouTube.
Oh yeah, okay. We'll put that link down in the video description.
And we really want to see people succeed. So if you decide to get a Keeper's Hive, we have a Facebook site to support you. We have YouTube to support you. I'm here to support you. We want to see people be successful with the Keeper's Hive.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, George.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, my name is Patricia Valencia. I am the National Sales Manager for Acorn Beekeeping Products. We are out of Chino, California, and we're here at the Expo show, and we're looking forward to it. Today was the first day. We literally sold out on our product.
You sold out on the first
We
day. It's not
sold
even
out on
over.
the first day, exactly.
No, so are those pre-orders or
No, our
they're people just
pre-orders,
walked
they're
up?
still picking up. These are just ones that we brought to sell, and we sold out.
Okay, so that's fantastic. So thank you for talking with me. And for my listeners, they already know that this is probably my most recommended foundation, as well as your full frames. And so we've tested them at the Way to Be for a long time. And I just wanted to stop by your booth, and you've got pink here today. What's that about? Would you like to
we
share?
ended up starting pink because we had a woman that was wanted to do a beekeeper that wanted to do breast cancer awareness, and she was going to start a program up, and we thought, you know what, that'd be a great idea. We made her some pink ones as a demo, and it took off because these are probably the ones that we give out at this expo, and everybody's carrying around these pink deep frames, and they love them.
Oh,
and
that's
now
cool.
we're manufacturing them to purchase.
So the pink foundation that you're giving out, this does have wax on it.
This one does have wax on it.
So the ones,
One of the other ones, the pinks that are the deep.
hold on. Okay, so you've got the deep frames that you're giving out free.
Yes, we are. We ended up getting these because we had a customer who was breast cancer awareness, and she wanted to give these out to her group. And we did a sample run for her, and it took off. And now at this point, these are our #1 giveaways here at the Navi Expo show.
Okay, well that's fantastic that Acorn is doing that, and that we could help her out. How is she now?
Good.
She's
It's good now, and
okay.
now there's more people aware of it. She has a family member now who is a male who wants to do ovarian cancer or
Okay.
what is the
Fundraising or
fundraising?
okay.
Yeah. So now we want to be able to do some blue ones for her too.
Okay. So now for the Acorn frames, all these different colors are available. The pink you've explained, and thank you for that. We have black, white, and of course the green, which is drone cone for
Correct.
integrated pest
Drone cone.
management.
Correct.
And what's your biggest seller? So the people that have come up, you've got the foundation without the frames, and you've got those in the frames. Which ones are the most
Our
popular?
biggest seller are our black frames
Full frame, okay.
and our black foundations, which are
Yeah.
black foundations.
And these have perforated corners so that people can snap them off to make way for the bees, because the bees
Correct.
can't chew through it.
That's right.
Waxworms can't chew through it, right? So the ones that you're selling, are they heavy waxed, or are they just?
Yeah, we do some that are heavy waxed.
And the ones that people have been buying, are they
Those
waxed?
are double waxed deep frames.
Double wax,
And
okay.
they're double waxed.
Now, how much does the waxing process add to the cost of each frame?
Actually, the waxing process probably puts in about, I want to say maybe $1.50 if that.
50
for the
cents?
Waxing, $1.50.
$1.50.
Yeah, on the double wax, and it goes from there. But
Okay.
for the wax, double wax, I mean, you're paying $93.60 a box for
Right.
52 frames
Wow.
in a box, $1.80 each.
Okay, that is a lot.
Yeah.
And so I noticed you've got this off-white color frame over
This
here.
Actually, this off-white is the wax. And
Okay.
this is actually a double wax.
Okay.
White frame.
Let's talk about the source of the wax that you use.
The source of the wax,
Yeah. It's beeswax?
it's beeswax.
Okay.
Yes. Don't
and
know all that
you don't know where you're
information,
getting it from. Okay, and is that wax applied by Acorn, or are you contracting
By
that out?
Acorn. We
Acorn
end up
does
doing
it.
That. We have a warehouse that runs it through a machine, and they literally do so many at a time. I mean,
Okay.
and it just runs.
Okay, so we are halfway through the first day, and you sold out most of your
We
products.
sold out all our products.
How does this compare to last year?
Well, last year we had all our product for the third day.
Yeah.
So it was 3 days that
Yeah.
we thought we were going to have to take some home.
So now,
But
what will you do? Will you offer a discount to the people that
we
can't
really
get it,
don't
or
offer a discount?
You
at
don't?
This point.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, look, if you want to be able to purchase, it was kind of mainly to be able to save on shipping.
Yeah.
So these customers were able to just be able to take product and not pay shipping fees.
okay? Now, are you getting customer feedback of anything that they don't like that they'd like to see improved?
Actually, no.
No. Okay.
Everything has
So they
been
like it
positive.
as is.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I will say that just in my experience with them, especially with the deeper frames and the bigger inserts, that they don't deflect or deform the way some of the other company plastic foundations do.
I've been told that.
Can you tell us anything about the plastic itself? Like, is this is all
It's
new
an- I know
plastic? It's considered
no,
food grade.
We've used this. It's an epoxy plastic that
It's
we use,
epoxy. Okay.
But we've never had a problem with it. We have the molding machines
Yeah.
at our facility in Chino, California, that are great, and they run like thousands at a time.
Okay.
So we
So
don't
with
have
some of the
issues.
other manufacturers that make these, and they've got these open frame cells down the verticals, for example, some people will say that maybe small hive beetles have a tendency to hide out there.
Correct.
Are you getting that kind of feedback also?
We probably get like 2 to 3 customers that run across that.
Yeah.
And we've had beekeepers that say they kind of put some foam in there to kind of seal it up. And when it seals, then they don't have an issue.
Okay.
But not too many people really complain about it.
Okay,
To say
well-
that it's a problem.
And so the most popular color is black,
Yes.
and so they can see larvae and
They
things
can
like
see
that.
the larvae, yes.
Okay. And what's the life expectancy of an acorn frame in
Oh,
service? Like, can they
wow.
power wash
We've
them
had-
off and things
we've
like
had-
that?
Yeah, we've had customers that said they've been using them for 10 years.
Right. Okay, so someone's had one, it's been used for brood. What's the recommended cleanup for that?
Oh, that's a big question.
Just power wash it,
Just
or
power wash it. I
is there
would
anyone
just-
coming and telling you, like, hey, I found a great way to clean these up and I keep them in
You know what,
service?
they'll have some customers say that they'll end up just power washing it and
Yeah.
doing it again back in front.
Okay.
Just to kind of take off all that, goop on there.
And some people say they can soak them in really hot water. We're talking 150 degrees
That's-
Fahrenheit.
That's hot.
And
Yeah,
what's the temperature limit, if there is one? Some
That I don't
plastics
know.
start to permanently deform or degrade at 160 plus.
that would be a test that they would have to check out.
Okay, so we don't know that
we don't
for
know
sure.
the answer to that. Yeah.
Okay.
But we had customers say that they put it in hot water just to kind of take off that wax.
Right, and they'll even soak it for a while, and it takes it right down. It takes wax propolis and that really tough brood comb out of it, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so I guess that's about all I have. Is there anything that's coming up that's going to be new with Acorn,
We
or
are doing our new yellow foundations, and our yellow
you like to talk
foundations-
about it?
Yes, let me grab one. These that they're doing that are new are yellow foundations,
Yeah.
and we have these in our deep and our mediums. This is an unwaxed one, but we have a lot of feedback from customers that literally wanted yellow. And
That's
that was
interesting. I
something-
wonder what are they thinking is better, just the aesthetics of looking at a
Well,
yellow?
I think that the bees take to it a little bit better on the yellow for some reason.
That's very
But
interesting.
this was really something that we just started probably about 3-4 months ago.
So you've got feedback that even with the same waxing, the same configuration, just the color yellow, the bees
Yes.
use it first?
First to this, yeah.
That's interesting. I smell an experiment coming on.
Yeah, I
think
so
that's
too.
something worth
that
testing.
Would be a good, now I'm getting this feedback from beekeepers, so
Okay.
that would be a good experiment to
It
find
would be
out.
interesting to put
Compared to
identical
the-
material
Yeah.
side by side, or even checkerboarded, and see if
Yeah.
there's a difference in drawing
the
them out.
yellow to the black.
Yeah.
But then I get a lot of feedback that
Now
the yellow
inside a
to the
hive,
black.
it's dark.
True.
So
So it wouldn't matter what the color is.
yeah, it's
if you
kind of
think about
interesting.
it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to find out though.
Yeah.
But now we're starting
But
to
there
do
could
it.
be a material composition difference in the yellow.
True.
Two colors are different plastic pellets, right?
Right.
So
That's
there
true.
could be some sense of pheromone or who knows
The
what they're
pigmentation,
smelling.
yeah, correct.
It could be a different
The yellow.
smell. All right, this is really interesting. I want to thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And the
we're gonna
company.
we're going to eventually start hopefully getting more distributors out there because
Okay.
we know that, a lot of customers are requesting in the Midwest and East Coast. So we
Great.
definitely have classy Florida farms that are now our first distributors in Florida.
Okay, so you're ramping up. You're
Oh,
actually
definitely.
increasing.
We definitely need
Yeah.
to.
Wow. Okay. Well, thanks again for your time. I'm going to close out with Acorn Bee,
Thank you.
and it's acornbee.com.
It's translucent, it's got the surface in there.
All right, so we're here at Bee Smart Designs with my good friend Clifford Struhl, who has come up with everything that you guys have put out. And people that watch me know that we like your stuff. What's the big item here that people are really after this year at
Two
the
things
conference?
this year. We're pushing very big the insulated inner cover once again. And our big selling feature now is we're 40 to 70% more insulation than any of the poly hives. We put the insulation where it's needed, right on the roof, less on the walls. You get the condensation on the walls. We're generic, so we work with all standard 8-frame, 10-frame woodenware. You're not buying into a closed system. It's a generic open system product. You can use any one component or all the components together as a system. I give people a challenge these days. If you have 2 or 3 hives, put our system on one, go a year, and next year you'll be buying 2 more.
Yeah, make a comparison. So you just mentioned that your insert is now more insulated
No,
than
it's
before?
the same as last year.
Same as last
R10.
year. R10, okay.
R10, but none of the poly hives are above R7.
Correct, okay.
So we're way more. And I even spoke to your friend Etienne from Canada. He
Okay,
said if you
Etienne
wanna-
Tardif, yeah.
If you want to get a little more insulation on your wall, he said wood is about R1. He said put
Right.
R1 on the outside, you've doubled your wall insulation, but it's still cooler than the top, so you'll still get the condensation.
Condensation to the wall instead of the overhead.
And the wrap will give you a windbreak, which will also help for any holes or gaps in the hives.
Great, yeah. Cutting the wind out is really important. Now I'm looking at these corners here, Cliff. This is new.
It's coming soon, hopefully.
Coming
if we
soon.
can find some woodenware people to buy
They're
into
not
it.
out yet.
Not out yet.
But so
But it
you're
makes
just
for a
giving
pretty hive, doesn't it?
Yep. So you're giving them a forecast of that. Can we pull the cover and look at the way these corners work? Or I guess you've got it over there.
Sure.
But so it saves dovetails.
No dovetails, everything's square cut for the wood. And with our new handle system, you don't even need the handhold cutouts. So it's basically 3 cuts on the wood. Rip it to width, cut
Yep.
it to length, add the rabbets, screw these in, you're done.
Okay.
And these will be Lexan, the same bulletproof material we use on most of our products.
And the screws are stainless.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and what's the interest in that? People,
We have some people interested. The woodenware people haven't bought into it yet.
okay.
They're very tight in. They have big investments in
Sure.
dovetail and everything
Sure.
else. So we're just testing the water with that. But you got to start somewhere.
And one of the advantages I see to this right here is, for example, we've got old boxes, they come apart right at the rabbet in
Right.
particular. So if we could just cut those
Well, you can cut
flush,
the ears
we can
off.
actually recondition or reuse some
Exactly.
older woodware, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so what else is new?
Okay, the big thing this year is the handle.
Stuff. No.
We gotta wait a second.
Because there's
Okay.
a channel and a channel here. I don't know. He thinks that maybe we should channel.
Hi,
Hi.
looking at your design
Not
here.
done. Not done yet.
Yeah, I know. That's what she said. If it was a
So we're back on track.
Okay,
All right.
we're back on track. A few years ago, we came up with our original hive handle that was removable and repositionable, and it had some problems for latching on and security. So this year we made a permanent handle that screws on. Like the other one, it's Lexan. You grip it, and you can just lift. It's super strong. It won't break. It's designed to either go over a handle here, or it will sit below the handle, like over here. So it's super secure on the box. It can flex down, but it keeps coming back up.
Okay.
They're made out of Lexan. They're designed to tie in with our pry point system, which is the box separator, which you've seen before, Fred. You can put your hive tool in to separate the box. You can separate the box like this. If you're really stuck together, you can put it in and just lever it up with a giant lever. But together you get the benefit of separating without disturbing the bees or destroying your woodenware while you're lifting at the same time.
Okay, I see. And what's the maximum lift on those handles? What have you tested it to?
Over 100 pounds per handle.
100 pounds per handle.
Yes.
So more than any beekeeper is going to be
Right.
lifting. Okay.
Now, of course, one of the problems people have, at least I have, maybe you don't, is when I lift this box, I'm not lifting one box. I'm lifting
Right.
two, because all the frames have stayed stuck.
Sure.
With
Yeah.
this, I can now lift this, separate with my hand in a very
I'll get the
comfortable...
frames off of it
right.
too.
But my hand's
Yeah.
in a very comfortable position. If you
Okay.
were traditional, you have to grip like this and then try to do like this.
Right.
You're all twisted,
Right.
you're hurting, you're lifting at
Yeah.
80 pounds. This is direct lift, separate the boxes. You can grip this, tip it back, lift the whole thing up, and they go right back down. Minimal disturbance to the bees, very comfortable for you to do.
Okay. Now you've made some improvements in your bottom board.
Yes,
Is that
we did.
right? Let's talk about that.
So our original bottom board, like most, was a wire mesh. We had used stainless steel, so it was inert and wouldn't be bothered by the acids, be it formic or the oxalic. The wire mesh has always been problematic for both people who make traditional wooden bottom boards and ours, that the wire mesh never stays flat and it can separate, and it's getting very expensive. We decided to go with a molded grid that has larger openings for better mite drop, better small hive beetle drop, and allows you to do a better job of inspecting your inspection board to manage your hives, to be able to learn to read your bottom board for the detritus that's falling.
Okay.
So now this is dead flat.
Yeah.
As in the past, we have an 8-frame adapter, so it works with an 8-frame or 10-frame. And this will stay flat all the time.
Okay, now I have a question.
Shoot,
What are these little removable
they're not
bits?
removable.
Oh, they're not removable.
No.
Why are
The
they there?
original-
What are
The
they?
original sample you got, they were removable
Okay.
because we had a problem.
Oh, okay.
When we mold this, we have our inspection board, and it
Okay.
runs on little rails that are buried underneath.
Correct.
To mold it, we need to have a hole in the grid. So
Oh,
this is
okay.
a cover to cover the hole that's used to mold that.
Okay, solve the puzzle.
Solve
'Cause I was
the
like,
puzzle.
what is that for?
And
All
they're
right.
designed now with 3 clips so they don't come out.
Okay, sounds good. So never rot, never rust, removable
It's ready
insert.
to use. All of our products are ready to use, which means they don't require assembly or
Okay.
painting, and they're all 8-frame or 10-frame compatible.
Okay.
And we are all 100% made in USA with American sourced materials, most
Yeah.
of them recycled. So we're
Okay.
not subject to potential tariffs, supply chain issues. Everything is made in Northeast America.
Okay. So now what's your hottest seller at the expo?
The handles have been getting a lot of play.
The handles, okay?
One of the things that we've been doing quite well is what we call our quad system, which is basically our complete universal hive. That's the cover,
Okay.
the inner cover, insulated, the IPM bottom board, and the robbing screen. It's a complete set. You can convert any hive into a complete modern condensing hive for not much money, and it will last a lifetime.
How about your robbing screen? That's one of the most popular robbing screens.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And has Randy Oliver spoken with you at all about
A
your
little bit.
design?
Randy has some stuff he's been doing.
Right.
I just read his recent article.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure how his testing compares to real life, but we know
Okay.
our robbing screens had a very good history. People love it. They tell
Yeah.
me it works great.
It is the most
We
popular
are,
robbing
We are
screen.
looking into a couple of tweaks to modify it
Okay.
based on what Randy's finding, maybe to do a little bit more control of the hive odors to get them up and away from
Yeah.
the doors or from the front.
Yeah, and Randy's doing a talk later on that's going to cover that.
Right.
So
I think he's stopping by here to speak to me later.
that'll be great. So you are going to listen to what he's
Oh,
got going out
why
and
not?
maybe make some changes.
You've known me for years.
Yeah.
I don't stay sitting very still very long. If I can
Okay.
make the product better, I'll invest into making the product
Yeah.
better.
That's great.
So I don't mind it. The bottom board was a major investment to change it, but
Right.
we did that.
And I like that change, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it, and
Yeah.
the price went down. The
Yeah.
product got stronger, and the price went down.
Well, nobody hates it when a price goes down. All right.
Correct.
That's good. So, okay, the insulated inner covers are probably what I recommend to people the most. It's been a big game changer where I live in the snow belt, which right now we have 18 inches of snow
Really?
while we're here.
Okay.
So, and I checked my bees, by the way. All my
You're
hives
telling me I'm
are.
going to get through that when I have to go back to Pittsburgh on my
You're
way
in
home
for
on
you're in
Saturday?
for it, Cliff. I'm telling you. So, the other thing is, on my way over here today, somebody was talking about in the south they have problems with their bottom boards rotting out. So that's a big
There's
bonus
no
for
rot
this
on
kind.
this.
Right,
This
because
is
of the
actually
material.
a mineral-filled material. It's UV
Yeah.
resistant, has
Oh.
UV absorbers, UV inhibitors in it. So this will last a long, long time.
Next question. What is a long, long time? By the way, I like the stance. They hold up to weed whackers and everything, so I can say that. I'm not
And
I'm not
I
easy
remember
on
the
them.
stand was one of your first videos ever with Christmas tree lights adorned on it.
Okay.
You remember that?
Okay.
You don't remember that episode?
I don't, but probably.
I have a copy of it
I still
somewhere.
have the originals in my apiary, and they're still doing their job. So
I have my
and these are
original
improved.
bottom board prototype from 14 years ago
Yeah.
still in use in my apiary. And
Okay,
it was made
good.
in black, which is even worse.
Yikes.
for sun.
Okay. And so the roof, you don't have to paint it. You don't have to do anything, right? This outer cover. And again, the originals are still in use.
Yes.
Has that composition changed at all?
Nope, same material.
No, same stuff.
The main thing is the white coloring on its own is a UV, blocks the UV from transmitting through the plastic.
Okay.
These things are super strong. We also have the crenellation on the inside, so when you stack a box, it will handle any load you put on it.
Yeah.
It's got the passive ventilation. What they used to tell you in the old books was popsicle sticks or nickels on top of
Right. Yeah. We all used to do that
We-
before the insulated inner cover came along
And before
and
these,
condensing
molded,
hives.
we molded these on.
Yeah.
So we still have the ability to get the passive ventilation between our cover and the other.
If you want
And
to.
of course, our big product, our feeders are great. Everybody.
Yeah. And I did open field tests on these, by the way. The slow release of the constant provision of syrup,
Right.
extending over a period of time. They can't drink that all of a sudden and rush into the hive, right?
Right.
So that actually held up really well. I was impressed. So
And it's really
those
good.
improvements have paid off, I
Yes.
think. Yeah.
And what's really good is now the bees can feed directly from the brood nest without loss of heat or humidity, which means you got stronger brood in the spring because they're maintaining the correct microclimate, the 91 to 96 degrees, the right humidity.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, you can put the plug on,
Right.
and now the hive maintains a sealed hive, and you get strong brood, lower losses.
Okay, we're going to address a criticism. You ready? The bees, because this is a reversible insert, because there's a channel going through it, the bees do have access to the polystyrene, and sometimes, not every hive, but this little opening over here, the bees come out and they have sometimes chewed the polystyrene. I've told people to use aluminum foil, just a single sheet. That stops that. Do you have any?
I haven't had that problem. The one issue we have had, which everybody with poly has, is ants.
Ants, yeah, and they'll chew it.
And there's
They
there's
excavate it.
now a simple solution.
Okay, that's what we need to know.
A little sprinkle of diatomaceous earth underneath
Yeah,
will kill the ants, but the bees never get in here because the tunnel's closed.
okay.
So when it's sealed during the summer, because you
Yeah.
don't want the top entrance,
Yeah.
a little sprinkling of that and or cinnamon keeps the ants at bay. And the
Okay.
bees never have access to that area.
All right.
I haven't seen any really chewing on that. Bill Hesbach, who does the condensing hive talks,
Yeah.
he uses the upper entrance and he tells me the bees actually propolize the surface
They
of,
will,
of
yeah.
the tunnel. They don't close it, they just propolize
Yeah.
it.
I found that too.
Right,
Yeah.
so the bees go in and out, but now they have a propolized tunnel.
Okay. All right. I think we hit it all.
Oh, you missed one thing.
What's that?
For people in the South that have, for people in the South that feed pollen patties.
Oh yeah. The trivet. Can we put that up on
I have
top
one
and
over
talk
here.
about it? Okay.
So for people that feed pollen patties in the South, they have
Yeah.
a problem with small hive beetles. This trivet raises the pollen patty above the frame so the bees can patrol
All sides. of
all
the
six
pollen.
sides, the top,
Okay.
the bottom, front, back, left, right. And now they can't lay eggs because the grid is so narrow, there's no place to hide the eggs.
Okay.
And as David Peck from Betterby loves to say, no eggs, no worms, no worries.
Yeah. So and it's
I'm already
proven
getting
out for people
huge-
that have used it. They've
huge
liked
feedback.
it.
Everybody says it's working.
Excellent. And Dr. Peck is here, so we'll
Yes,
catch up with
you
him
can
too.
catch up with him.
That's great.
He's a big proponent of
All right,
this
I want to thank you, Cliff, for your time
Thank
and
you,
for
Fred.
your
I
great
appreciate
innovations
it. And
always.
thank you for your support.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And I got to show you something.
So we're here at the Bee Apothecary with Peter. Peter, what's your position with this company and where do you come from?
I'm one of the owners. We're out of Lancaster, Ohio, so Central Ohio.
Okay. And what is your? You're one of the owners, and so what got you into this? Of all the things in beekeeping, why are you doing an apothecary?
We actually just started as beekeepers to pollinate our gardens. Figured we'd get some honey, but just for friends and family and stuff, and found out about propolis and how it's used all over the world as a natural antibiotic and for other health purposes.
As well as in the beehive.
Right,
Yeah.
obviously, yeah.
Okay.
And so we just made some for ourselves to try out. Started sharing it with friends and family, and
Yeah.
pretty soon we were making all kinds of products and putting propolis in everything.
So speaking of products, here at the, have most of the people heard of you before, or are they just discovering you here?
I'd say it's about 50-50.
50-50?
Yeah.
So what are most of your visitors after?
Wanting to find out more about how we use propolis and things like that. But as far as products, lip balms and our bee rescue cream and oil and tincture are kind of the start. What
Oil and
everybody wants
tincture?
to try out first.
Okay, so when somebody does an apothecary, what do you fall under? Is this like a health regulated area?
Well,
or
we're not technically an apothecary. We're a bee apothecary.
bee apothecary?
Yep. So
Okay.
we don't claim to do anything. And how we came up with the name was we thought, well, the bees are making basically medicine for themselves and obviously share it with us. So that's how we came up with the name. But I think most of the products that we have fall under the
Like health food category, vitamins.
right.
Okay. And so when people come and they're looking at your products, like she's doing a balm, I guess that is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your number one interest area, or are people just open to everything? What is your biggest seller?
Probably the oil and tincture, so just propolis oil and propolis tincture, and then a couple of the creams. Bee Rescue, probably our number one seller. It has a little more propolis in it, so it's great for damaged skin and that sort of thing. And there's others that are just moisturized, or not just moisturizers, but more for moisturizing.
What about lozenges, throat sprays?
We do a throat spray.
You do a throat spray.
It's been really popular. Actually, we're down to just a few 30 milliliter bottles.
Can we
left
talk
at
about
this
that?
point.
Can you grab one?
Yeah.
What does that do for you?
The throat spray, so propolis is antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, antimicrobial, but it's also an analgesic. So if you have a sore throat, that analgesic part of propolis will help numb, the pain in your throat. Ours has clove, mint, and lemon in it also, so it tastes good as
Does
well.
it reduce coughing?
No.
It won't reduce coughing?
Well, I'm sure because it's going to coat and help soothe, it's going to reduce, but depends on where the cough is coming from. A lot of people's cough comes from your chest, not from your throat.
Well, there's a lot of presenters walking around today that their voices are gone or waning fast.
Yeah.
Would this help somebody
We
who's
have a lot
just
of
got
speakers and singers actually using throat spray.
Use that.
Because it helps reduce that irritation,
Okay.
and
Well, you're going to
inflammation.
sell that one to me, so.
Right. So
Okay.
we have a few left today. So,
Okay.
Yeah, throat spray's been a big seller. Yeah, Cayman used it a couple years ago.
Did it help him?
His throat, he was, I think he lost his voice on the first night,
Yeah.
if you remember, and so he used it, and it helped. I don't remember if it got much better because he was talking, throughout the whole conference.
So Randy Oliver and Bob Binney are walking around right now with worn out voices,
I'm surprised they haven't been by. They know
So
all about
Cayman
it.
should, wouldn't you agree that Cayman should provide one of those to each of his
That'd be
speakers?
a great little gift item thing.
I think
to put
so.
in. Yeah, as a welcome and thank you, right?
All right, well, I want to thank you for talking with me, and people can go to your website, which is...
beeapothecary.us.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Fred.
Thanks for your time. Okay, so we're at the Better Bee stand, and we're checking out all the stuff that we know is moving. And we're talking to Sydney today.
Hello.
So first of all, what's your position with Better Bee?
I am a carpenter and assistant beekeeper.
Oh, so Better Bee makes her own woodenware too?
Yes, we do. Well, we make our own and we assemble lots of hive bodies and frames.
And you said assistant beekeeper?
Yes.
Who do you assist?
I assist Anne Fry, our head beekeeper.
Anne Fry, the head beekeeper. Is she a master beekeeper?
I would say so.
Yes, she is. Okay, so let's talk about what people are looking at Better Bee. What is getting the most attention?
Definitely our frame isolation cages
Frame
here.
isolation cages. Tell us what those are about and how they're used.
These are perfect for when you want to install a queen, and these isolation cages allow workers to go through and take care of the queen as they always do.
So workers go through, queens and drones cannot.
Yes. They also limit the risk of bees absconding. They're a short-term commitment for finding queens. They've been very popular today.
Now,
Both in double
as
frame
an
and-
assistant beekeeper there at Better Bee, have you actually used these to isolate queens for different reasons?
I personally have,
You have not.
but
Okay.
I've seen them in action before.
Okay. Now, what are some of the complaints, if any? What do people wish that were better or more improved?
Sometimes it's hard to get these off, like propolis will sometimes get stuck here.
Okay.
It just takes a little bit of a hive tool. People are also concerned that the queen's gonna crawl out of here. It doesn't happen.
So now I
But
noticed you're carrying a lot more mediums. Is that because some of the beekeepers are using all mediums in their bee management, or
no, actually the deeps have been selling so much that we have to stock the mediums.
You have to stock them again.
Or the deeps. The deeps are usually the more popular ones.
Okay.
Usually brood boxes.
Okay. So then another thing is you have queen introduction cages.
So those are different.
Are
So-
you selling many of those?
Gee, we are. Oh yeah. So, but these are different. So the
Right.
difference for the queen introduction cages, workers cannot get through,
Right.
and so it keeps a queen safe, especially if you have ordered a incredibly expensive queen and you want
Right.
to make sure that she is not killed right off the bat. She will be in here alone, and she will be on. You can throw some brood in there, throw on a brood
So
frame.
cap brood, no nurses.
Yes.
Okay.
No nurses. So
Okay.
when they hatch, then they will take care of her, hopefully in time for your bee, whether you can determine whether or not your bees like her or not.
Okay,
So
that's
it's
good.
very nice and very safe. Also, it's very good for transporting.
Great. Yeah. Okay. I can see that
done
too.
that a couple of times.
On the frame. All right. So have there been any changes since these came out regarding even spacing of the bars or the way they're composed or the lids? Because one of the things that some people are wondering about, we have this open cap, right?
Yep. Correct.
And then on the queen introduction cages, they're closed up. Why aren't we making these closed up?
that I am not too sure. But first of all, it helps us recognize which is
because you
which.
can carry them around completely out of the hive in that because it's self-contained. Where these, if they're in there, we have to hold our hands on the ends. The other thing is people are smashing their queens. When the frame is in there,
Oh.
the queen is on the back of the frame and they just quickly close this up. So some people have smashed their queen right on top only to see her fall down inside. Right, Anne?
Well, that sounds
Anyway.
like beekeeper error.
It is beekeeper error, 100%, but they need to be mindful of the space. So we tell them to slide it on instead of, make sure your queen is down on the face of the frame, slide it down, because several people have killed their queens not understanding that there's no space
Yes, it's very
above
easy
the back
to do
bar.
if you are,
Yeah.
if you are rushing.
So aside from these isolation and introduction cages, see that? That's what we're talking about. That is the smash zone. Do not put that lid straight down until you're sure your queen is down below. What else besides these? What's the next hottest item that people are after?
Formic Pro.
Let's go talk
Our
about it.
good old Formic Pro.
So now you're in New York State.
Yes.
Okay. So Formic Pro for you in your management there, do you use this on your colonies?
Absolutely, yes we do.
You do. Do you use the double method or the single 10
We
after
do the
10?
double.
You do
So
the
we
double.
We do the double.
So,
Absolutely.
and what is the number one thing feedback-wise that people are concerned about with Formic Pro? It's an organic treatment.
It is an organic treatment. The smell.
The smell.
Like even if it is organic, the smell is pretty. It's pretty harsh even for us.
Okay.
It's always like someone holds up a hive, you throw the two in there in the places they need to be, across the frames, not horizontal with them.
Okay.
And they're usually afraid that it irritates their bees, it angers their bees, upsets
Sure.
their bees. Also that maybe that they're doing their doses wrong. Sometimes people get a little confused about how much for each hive, depending on how many boxes.
Yeah, and we do have some limitations on temperature parameters,
That's
time
true.
of year, and things like that. So, what time of year in New York are you most often using Formic Pro?
Usually in the spring.
It's a spring treatment
Spring treatment.
during the buildup,
Yep.
and it's safe when honey supers are on. So, the other thing is, I did talk with the Knot group, and they said you could just leave these on. Like, in other words, after the treatment period, because it's already present, formic acid is present in the hive anyway, so it actually falls down to what would be considered a background level of formic. Do you know anything
Yes.
about that?
So I don't know anything about that, but I personally wouldn't leave
You
them
remove it
on
at the
much
end of that
longer.
20 day.
It's safe for your bees. It's not going to harm your bees. But for me, it's the sometimes bees don't eat all the way through it. Sometimes they don't clean it. Like if you keep the wax paper on it,
Yeah.
it'll gunk up your hive, and then you'll get covered in propolis and honey.
Yeah.
I think for cleanliness and making it easier for
Just
you to take
remove it
frames
at the end of the
out,
treatment.
so you don't need to take a hive twill every time and scrape it.
Yeah.
I think if you want to keep it a little bit more cleaner, to not do that, but
Okay.
it's not unsafe.
This looks like a new Varroa test bottle. I don't recognize it. Is that new? It's taller. It's square instead of round.
Yes.
When did that come out?
I apologize. I do not know.
What about that? Okay. So is that pretty much it?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. So
Mite bottles.
I'm looking at your Varroa test bottles.
Yes.
And they are different from the ones before. Now the ones before were good because this is one of the models that actually did not leak when you were
Yes.
shaking and agitating them. Why the change? Do you know, or is it just because it's a new product?
I think it's easier when shaking them. Well, with
Yeah.
the circle one, you had to do a lot more of this, but with
Yeah.
this, you just gotta like almost like a whisk.
Okay.
Maybe it's also.
Have you done a lot of Varroa accounts with something like that?
I've done Varroa counts with the original.
With the original?
Yes, with the original.
Okay. All right,
I
so
personally am not testing this yet.
is that pretty much it then? That's
I believe
what's hot?
So yeah, that's what's hot.
All right. Thank you so much for your time and I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very welcome. I'm going to take a drink of water.
I have a little beekeeper Lego, but I did not have
What do you want me to talk about?
You're already being recorded, Matt.
Oh, Lord.
So let me
Okay.
tell you what we're talking about.
Okay.
We'll just shoot the breeze, talk
Sure,
about what you're doing.
absolutely.
Now, your company is called Aperture Apiary.
Yep.
And I couldn't help but notice that you're busy all the time. Everybody is here.
Well, I really make something that everybody likes.
And so I'm looking at all these things. These are fantastic for education. I know that shocks you to know that that's what they're here for. What do you find people are most interested in?
So today, most people have been interested in my complete life cycle. This is a complete life cycle of the worker bee. Brand new product. Only doing pre-orders because I gotta make it just right. But we start at day 1/0 all the way up to day 21. Starting from day 8, every one of these comes out, so you can sort it and teach yourself the development order. The caps stick on from day 7 through day 20, and they're a great way to learn about the development cycle of a worker bee.
You've got the purple eye phase, you've got everything in here. Now these are also, they work with what, other toys? Or?
So I also make little Lego hives.
Okay.
These, a bunch of different
Did
colors.
you grow up as a Lego enthusiast?
I
Is
did
that what
indeed.
happened? Okay.
I didn't grow up. Let's put it that way. I'm still a big fan of Lego, and I even got a little smoker for him, like that. And since I can't ever stop myself, I've got a nice little vaporizer, and I've got a bunch of little mite checks. If you look real close, you might see a red dot for a Varroa in there.
Hold that there. Let's take a look. Oh, you do? You do have a mite in there.
And there's a mite in there,
That's
so it's time to
impressive
treat.
detail.
Time to treat. So I make a bunch of different things. I'm also working on a little extractor for Lego. It'll spin. Not quite done yet. And if you get really lucky, you might find an Aja hive in there.
Wow.
And so that's just a few of the things I make. And my favorite thing is Fred was telling people not to touch over here.
Yeah.
Is my giant Life in the Hive.
Okay.
So this big set
This
right
is
here,
a big scale item.
You got a worker bee with a magnetic mite, so she sticks on there.
Oh, that's nice.
And then
And those wings pivot also?
these ones do not. Those ones are
Okay.
fixed. Yeah. And you got your pupa in there with the mite as well. And if your hive has recently swarmed, you might have a virgin queen who's going to emerge out of her queen cell here to go out on her mating flight. And I got a big version of that, and I've also got a little handheld version, which I'll bring over here. This is a smaller version of that. It's all magnetic, so it all snaps together. You got each individual stage there. You've got your honey, you got your egg, you got your larva with royal jelly, and your pupa. Inside there, you've got a little mite and an immature male mite there. And since bees like to eat, you've got your bee bread. And then your worker bee.
You have a drone?
I do have a drone. I'm sold out of those, but I got a drone. I got a little drone here. And
That's fantastic.
I got a queen. She's got magnetic ear tags.
Oh, she's marked. Okay.
Yeah, she's marked. So she's been on her mating flight. She's ready to start laying eggs. So that's the core set, and then I've got the queen cells to go with that as well. The queen cup and the queen cell.
Oh.
And it's all, like I said, it's all magnetic, so it all snaps into place. And you get your different cell caps. Here you get your standard worker cell. This does kind of double duty as a VSH or an emerging worker as she's chewing her way out.
Okay.
And then you've got your drone cap as
And
well.
VSH, you just did that. Somebody's going to say, what's VSH? So what explain what?
Sensitive hygiene.
And
So-
why would that be indicated through a chewed cap?
So the bees remove the cap to detect. Well, the current theory, at least last I heard, was that the pupas, they release kind of a distress pheromone, and then the worker bees will go in and remove the cap to see if that worker or that pupa is injured or diseased, and then they'll remove it if there is presence of varroa.
That's fantastic. Great explanation, too. So are they placing orders? You had a huge line here.
So I've got a bunch of these. I'm sold out of queens. I'm doing pre-orders on the complete life cycle. Right now we're looking a couple weeks on that, probably closer to 5. I've got a lot of pre-orders on that. And just as a little teaser, next step is to work on, we'll work on a drone version of that as well. So.
Okay. And I notice you've got a whole collection of pests over here.
I do indeed, although
Let's
my
go
varroa has walked away.
Your varroa got away. That's not good. All right, so we got
I've got a couple other things here. I've got the dreaded Tropalaelaps.
Tropalaelaps, aka the tropy mite.
The tropy
okay.
mite. I've got a wax moth, closer to like a lesser wax moth. Small hive beetle larva.
Okay, now,
Yes.
if these were live and we picked up a wax moth larvae and a small hive beetle larvae, how can we tell the difference just by the feel?
So I don't know about the feel, but you would find spines.
Yeah.
Spines on the small hive beetle. In the wax moth, you're going to have a set of 8 total legs.
Yep.
And that's the big difference between the two of those.
Yeah. And if you roll them, the small hive beetles feel rubbery,
Oh, really? Okay.
and the little wax moth larvae will actually squash up in your finger.
I usually just squish them before they get to that
but these
stage.
are really remarkably accurate. I'm impressed.
These are not to scale. They'd be about
Right.
quarter
Right.
scale. The varroa mite and the Tropalaelaps, these are both human scale.
Okay.
And this would probably, the small hive beetle, you could say that's scaled to a small human. I do also, I don't bring them a lot with me, but this would be about half scale to a human. You'd be looking at about a small dog for an
Wow.
equivalent.
How did you come up with these designs?
That's a really good question.
So,
I had somebody ask me, hey, I'd love a model of, with Life in the Hive, they wanted something they could hold in their hands. Obviously, you can't hold a bee in your hand. And the idea behind that was you could take it into a school, you could teach kids with it. Obviously, there's a lot of really great informational placards out there. And they're great. But kids like to hold things, and the idea was to give kids something to hold so that they could learn about bees. And it's just amazing you hand that to a kid, their eyes just go, whoa!
Yeah.
They get the idea, they get it, and just I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people say, I took it in and the kids just went, wow!
Yeah.
It's so the idea behind it was to create something that people could use to teach about bees any time of the year to anyone.
And we've got these.
So these are right here. We've got the digestive system, and I'm not even going to try because I'm going to mispronounce them. But you've got the different stages from the esophagus all the way to the exit, and the exit, the rectum, and then you've got your pylorus, your ileum, and different stages there. And then this is brand new for me. This is your external anatomy, and I could probably even go into more detail on here, but this is the majority of things that you would need, starting from the mandibles all the way to the stinger.
Now, is that the size? Do you offer larger scale versions of these? Or?
I would do that probably by custom order.
By custom order.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is what I'll have on my website in a couple weeks. But this really is a pocketable. I've had a lot of people come in who are taking their master beekeeper exams and say this is exactly what's on there. So I might even offer one with a blank slate, so you can learn them yourself.
One of the things you mentioned in exam, you would have the proventricula and the ventricula that are not.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would need to make.
But
it
of course,
bigger.
that's again more elaborate, more detailed. But it's a great introduction. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next? Anything new that you don't currently have that you're working on?
Well, I'm not going to give away all my secrets, but I've got
one secret. Just one secret.
We'll be making a drone version of the complete life cycle very soon.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah.
Great. So that's it.
That's all.
In a
That's all I'm
nutshell.
gonna tell.
How do people find you?
Find me on Instagram, Aperture Apiary, and Facebook, same name.
And Facebook. Great. Thanks so much for your time, Matt. All right, so here we are. I've not heard of your company, I have to be honest. Apiverta? Was it? All right, say it.
Apiver.
Apiver.
The E is silent. We're from Western Quebec.
Western
Canada.
Quebec. And you're Sandra. What is your position with the company?
I am the owner.
Oh, you're the owner. Good. We came to the right person. So, by the way, this has a lot of things I like. It's similar in some way to the AZ hives, these buildings.
That is exactly right. So this is a hybrid between an AZ and a Langstroth. We're taking the best features of both of them and turning it into one system. We're trying to work with how the beekeeper works. Bees will live anywhere. They'll live in a dirty tire. They'll live in your wall. But if we don't take care of them when we're managing them, then we're doing them a disservice. So we've designed this with the beekeeper in mind. If we were all in beekeeping gear and had big gloves on, everything you're going to see on here is designed for gross body movement versus fine body movement. And that's the difference between the AZ and this. There's a lot of little fussy knobs and bobs on an AZ, and you work it quite differently than a Langstroth. But there's benefits to the Langstroth and there's benefits to the AZ. So when we're doing our beekeeping, one of the biggest struggles that we hear from beekeepers is, I've got 3 honey supers on, and they all weigh 80 pounds. I don't know if I want to go inspect my bees, because lifting 3 heavy 80-pound boxes, that's a lot. Maybe you've got even more bees than that. So with us, when we need to access our brood chamber, all we have to do is take off a door and open up a drawer. Here's our brood chamber. So
now, did you intentionally rhyme just then? Open a door, open a drawer.
That just comes with being able to do the song and dance.
All right,
That's part of it.
So you've got the Queen Excluder right here. So
this is how we set up for the demo.
Okay.
So we're running. This basically integrates very well with a standard Langstroth box. So we've got a drawer, but this is completely hot swappable. You could take this out in the field. You can see it can come right out. So if I was running a large number of these, I could switch this out from one hive to another if I wanted to. We're going to do our standard inspections from a standing height. This is a comfortable working height for me, but if you were taller or shorter, we could mount it at a different height. If you were working from a seated position, we would mount it right down here so that it would be accessible for people in a wheelchair. So when we're doing our inspection, we're standing, we're looking at our frames, we're making our decisions on how we're going to manage our hive. I could run this as a double brood chamber, but any chamber above this is we're going to be working vertically. So we're going to be pulling the frames out this way. So if I was doing
And
my
those are
nukes,
rods they're gliding on? Is
yeah,
that round
that's
stock?
exactly it.
Okay.
So I can open that right up. There's actually 2 rows of teeth at the back that align all the frames. And we have a frame spacing tool for the front. Put that right back in. When we are first starting out our colony in the spring, I'm not sure what part of you're from Pennsylvania, so you do still get a little bit of winter in Pennsylvania. So when we're first starting out and we're first using this for the very first time, we've got a solid divider on top. So our bees only have access to this chamber. For us up in Canada, it's going to be at least a couple of weeks before we're ready to super, before we're ready to make any decisions about the hive. So we're leaving this solid divider on, coming and doing our inspections. At a certain point in the season, you're going to be ready to super, so we're going to start making some changes. We're going to give them access to more of the hive. So instead of adding boxes, individual supers in the Langstroth box, we're going to take this divider and we're going to start moving it up the hive. So just by moving the divider up, now the bees are going to have access to 2 chambers instead of 1. And I bring out my standard queen excluder. We're running singles, but you could easily run a double if you wanted to. So now the bees have access to both chambers. You're ready to super again, you're in a honey flow. That solid divider moves up, and now the bees have access to all 3 chambers, the honey soup, the brood chamber, and 2 honey supers. And then we put in the pass-through divider, and this just keeps work comb from developing in between them.
Okay. So that's kind of like a slatted rack, only it's intermediate to the boxes. Okay.
Exactly. So if we wanted to super all the way up to the top, we would just have another one of these pass-through dividers instead of the solid divider. The solid divider also doubles as a feeder frame, so we can put inverted feeder pails in here. This will also fit standard frame feeders, as well as the box feeders that you can put in here as well. Mostly the ones that are made of plastic versus the ones that are made out of wood.
Speaking of wood, what is the wood that you've used here?
This is Baltic birch.
Baltic birch.
So we've experimented with a number of different materials. We started out using an American-Canadian product called Pure Bond plywood that has soy adhesives. That looks at a raindrop or any moisture and it delaminates.
Right, okay.
So all of these, it's furniture grade. It can sit out in the rain if necessary. We actually integrate this with other Langstroth boxes in the field. As I said, they're hot swappable, so if I need to move one colony from one house to another, I just pull it out and I go and insert it in another house. The house itself is insulated to R14 all the way around, so when we are wintering, we do our feeding, we do our treatments, and then all we have to do is reduce the entrance and, close it up for the winter. It looks like this is fully supported on this base, but it actually isn't. This is actually freestanding. The beauty of this project is the hive and the panel. So this could be mounted inside an existing structure, inside a house, inside an Amish shed if you already had that.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a quick look here. We do run these inside of full houses in banks of 4 and 5, and you see that it's fully freestanding.
Okay. Wow. So have you had people stop by that have this out? How long has this been available to people?
So we've only had this available in Canada for about the last year and a half. We're patented in Canada and the US, but we're here in the States for the very first time looking for partners.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking for manufacturing partners, we're looking for distributors. It's a lot easier to manufacture something on this side of the border and ship it around than it is to manufacture it in Canada and go across the border.
Now I notice it's set up for 2 colonies, the way the structure is. Do you have a larger version that's for more, or are you trying to size it for 2 colonies and leave it at that?
So absolutely, it comes in numerous different configurations. This style of house, we have it as a single, this is a double house, and we also do this as a quad.
The quad. Oh, that's what's pictured down here.
That's
Okay.
one of the quads right here.
All right.
And we also do them in houses that can handle 8 or 10 hives.
Okay.
We're running every different size in our own apiary. We have about 35 different sites running singles, doubles, quads, 5 units, 10 units. This could also be installed in tractor trailer. So if you're doing pollination services,
Portable system,
instead of
okay.
loading up all the supers in the back and having to net the entire thing, you could actually convert a semi into being able to fully inspect the colonies inside. The only difference we would add a row of teeth on the inside of the door to keep the frames from moving in
Okay.
transit.
Yeah. All right.
So you could have the panel can support up to banks of 5 of these. So you have multiple banks, and they're very much mounted like a picture window. So you frame in a 2x4 picture window, and everything is supported independently through that system.
This system, the way it's shown right here, what's my question going to be? What's
Sorry, I
that?
missed
What's
what
that going to cost
So American is about $3,500.
for this system as it's shown
For
right
this
here?
system, it comes with all the frames inside, insulated to R14. Like I said, this is the people side. The other side is the B side.
Let's look at the B side.
Sure, let's go take a look at the B side. So these are very attractive houses. They're all finished in V-joint pine. We've got a 5-way entrance reducer here, so it can close down 5 different ways. You've got a little robbing guard and mouse guard up here that you just flip around if necessary. We've got a secondary entrance up here and awnings on top of both the entrance to protect a little bit from the elements. When we're building them and we're customizing them for people, they get a choice of what kind of roof they want. So it can be red, it can be blue, it can be brown, it can be black. A lot of people like the plain galvanized steel look as well.
Yeah.
All of the ones that we've deployed in our own fleet in the Gatineau Hills all have artist murals on the outside.
Okay. That's in keeping with the LT tradition too.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's one of the big reasons why we chose V-joint pine on the outside. It's just paying respect to where the idea came from.
Yeah. Wow. Is that it? Is that everything?
Oh, I'm sure I could talk for an hour,
Okay.
Fred.
Well, I want to thank you for explaining that
Thank you.
because it is a concept that's appealing to a lot of people that are particularly living in rough weather areas. And the fact that it's adaptable to a structure that's already existing is
Yep.
also going to be a huge bonus.
To be completely honest, nobody
Yeah.
has done the DIY model yet. We're very much like someone to do that.
Yeah.
This is actually the most popular model, the double. Our target audience are people our age who are starting to get into beekeeping, and they look at beekeeping and they go, that looks awesome, but it also looks like it might hurt.
Okay. Yeah.
It's heavy. 80
Sure.
pounds is a lot of weight to be schlepping around.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If we can take that out, and the only time that you really
Yeah.
have to worry about lifting is when you're harvesting,
Yeah.
then that's going to take a lot of the stress out of it.
And I see this as a cross right now. There is a lot of interest, especially for people with limitations,
Yep.
using horizontal hives, the long Langstroth. And then, of course, there's the big debate about the colony biology and the warmth management.
Yep.
And this satisfies the vertical requirement and keeping that handling one frame at a time for those who have limited ability.
Exactly.
So I think it is an actually really strong design.
So one of the cool things about this is just the height that works for me.
Right. You
This
could do any
totally
height.
be brought all the way down.
Right.
This could be worked from a seated position. We
Yeah.
can customize this instead of being 4 chambers high, it can be 3 chambers high. We've worked that into it, but we need to work with somebody who actually has some mobility issues to properly test it. Because I can sit in a chair, but
Sure.
I know I can get up.
Right. Yeah. And it's not just those older people with limitations or physical disability, but also our youth. There's a growing group of children. I have one who's 9 years old and wants to run everything. Everything is manageable, then even for younger supervised kids, of course. But I want to thank you for your time. It was a great
so much,
presentation.
Fred. I
Thank you. It was
appreciate it.
nice to meet you. So we're here with Danielle, and this is the first time I've seen gorilla at the Honeybee Expo.
Yes.
What's your position with these companies here?
So I've worked with the company for 6 years. I started out working for both brands, so we are actually owned by the same parent company. So we are the Gorilla Glue company and O'Keeffe's Hardworking Skincare. So I started in our consumer affairs department, working with our consumers, answering phone calls, chat, email. So I got a trial by fire of our products, of all of our products for both brands. So now I work on simply the O'Keeffe's brand.
Okay.
I work a lot with our digital influencer creator side. You can see here we did a campaign with Jeff and Julie of Mr. and Mrs. Beekeeper or Bee Rescue. They do like cutouts and they save bees in all these weird situations that they get themselves into.
Okay. And they had dry hands or something?
Yeah,
What happened
so
to them?
with beekeeping, you work a lot with your hands. So you have your hands in gloves. Your hands can get pruny, sweaty in the gloves, covered in sticky propolis. You've got to use all these chemicals, rubbing alcohol to get the sticky propolis off, so then it really dries out your hands. So then that's where working hands comes in.
Wait, working hands will also clean your hands?
It does
from the
not
propolis?
clean. No, it does not clean. It's just moisturization.
Okay, and this is what this is the tube version of what's here.
This is the tube version. So working hands, it's Hardworking Skincare. We're a hardworking skincare brand. So we have hand products, foot products, lip products, and then we have a new body lotion as well. We're unscented, non-greasy, so you can apply it and then just get right back to what you were doing. You don't have to wait for it to soak in or anything like that. So it's a great tool to have in a toolkit for beekeepers. You can see. I'll show you in his little toolkit.
Okay. What happens when this little tub here gets really hot? 98 degree, 100 degree beekeepers.
It can melt, so the product will melt, but it'll reconstitute.
It'll reconstitute. So just don't open it while it's at that
Correct,
temperature.
correct.
Okay, so you're giving away, I guess you're giving away the tubes, but it's the same product.
Yep.
What's the general interest level for the beekeepers that are here today?
I think so. We've been hearing a lot of great things. We also have a foot product here. So we have our Healthy Feet as well. So it's funny, a lot of people will come up to us and we'll ask them if they're familiar with O'Keeffe's, and they'll say oh yeah, I put that on my feet. So we also have a foot product as well.
Okay.
But yeah, it's been because a lot of beekeepers are also woodworkers by trade because of all the woodworking. So and woodworking can really dry out your skin. So it's been pretty well received.
Okay, so now we have the Gorilla Glue end of things.
Yes.
Let's talk Gorilla. Are you talking Gorilla Glue? Who's talking Gorilla Glue? Okay. So as you just said, beekeepers are woodworkers.
Yep.
We hate it when our equipment falls apart.
Yep.
And I notice you have this little sample here. It says fail.
Yes.
And the laminates have come apart, which I've had a problem with that myself.
Yep.
And then pass. So I'm just going to guess this is bonded with Gorilla Glue.
Nailed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now
yes.
why are you handling the Gorilla Glue end of things? What's your background?
So my name is Kara Hensler. This is Michelle. We're on the Gorilla marketing team.
Okay.
So we're responsible for promoting the wood glue pillar specifically, amongst others.
Okay.
But yeah, we're here today to just promote our wood glue product line as well as the ultimate product specifically.
Mm-hmm.
This is great for beekeepers especially because it's 100% waterproof. So
Okay.
it's great for the outdoors, the elements. We know a lot of them.
All right, so interrupted by some announcements. We'll just carry on. So you were saying about the glue?
Yeah, so our ultimate product specifically, it's a type 1 wood glue, so it's a PVA wood glue. It's 100% waterproof. It has a 15-minute extended working time, and it's our most durable formula. So for beekeepers specifically, it's great for the outdoors, the elements. And if you're making your hives, Danielle, actually, these are her very own hives that she used Gorilla Ultimate on. So she used nails as well, but it has reinforced with the glue.
Okay, so nails in addition to
Yep.
that. Now when you say waterproof, we're not talking submersion. But we are talking submersion.
So not totally submerged.
Okay, so
yeah.
weather related water, so heavy rains, things like that, not
Correct.
a problem. A lot of beekeepers are concerned about food grade, food exposure. Is this wood glue considered safe to be around food?
It is. It
Okay.
is. Yes. So it's food safe and it can be used on things like for cutting boards, etc. So it is food safe and will not harm the bees.
And this is Wood Glue Ultimate.
Yep.
What are the options in Gorilla Glue? Is just Ultimate, this is just like the one thing because it's for wood? Because some of the wood glue that comes from Gorilla has that bubbling kind of expanding behavior?
So yes, so this is a different formulation. So
okay.
this is our wood glue specifically. It's a PVA glue, so it doesn't
Right.
expand.
Okay.
Where the glue you're talking about is our polyurethane. So that's
Okay.
our heritage product. It's that brown color.
Yeah.
So it expands into the materials. And we learned, as what we've heard a lot today, is that a lot of people don't like that.
Right, they
Because
don't.
they don't realize it expands. They use too much. It gets everywhere.
Yeah, and then
We
they have
won't
to
run
chisel
into
it
that.
away.
Exactly. And
Okay.
this wood glue will not do that.
Now, after you're done with this wood glue and it's all been set, sandability, paintability,
Sandable, paintable.
all good.
Yep. Yep,
Okay.
with water.
Okay. And what is this a sample of?
So this is showing the clarity. So this is our Type 2 product. So
Okay.
this is the leading wood glue competitor. So you
Okay.
can see it has that yellowish dry color.
The wood competitor you cannot name?
Exactly, exactly. So yeah, it has that yellow color and it's very grainy.
Okay.
Where ours is, it dries
Yeah, it did
clear
raise the grain here.
and very smooth.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah.
Any good feedback from beekeepers that use it all the time, love
Yeah.
it, think it's the best?
We've heard a lot of great things. I think the durability aspect most
Yeah.
they appreciate, and they know when they use the product that it's not going to fail.
Okay, workmanship time.
Yeah.
Once you glue up your parts, how much time do you have to work it before it has to be in a fixed position?
So it's a 15-minute extended working time.
15-minute extended
Yep.
working time. Does temperature play a big part in that?
Yeah, so temperature-wise, so it goes as low as 50 degrees Fahrenheit, which we learned converts to 10 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
We were asked that question too. Canadian.
Now.
Yeah.
You're a woodworker, you gotta have a bunch of wood glue here, and it's on your shelf, it's in the garage, it's wintertime, it's 19 degrees outside.
Yep.
Should they be moving their wood glue into warmer storage, or does it matter if it freezes?
So it will fall out. Yeah. So it
So
can freeze.
freezing cycles don't hurt the glue
Nope,
composition?
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yep.
I actually like that because I'm one of the people that forgets my glue out in the shop.
Yep.
All right, any closing words, promotional statements? Nothing?
Yeah. We appreciate the time
Okay.
and just if you use Gorilla Wood Glue, you will not be disappointed.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
What's the name of the company? Bee Friends Farm?
Actually, I'm JL Apiaries.
You're JL
I'm working
Apiaries.
through Bee Friends Farms,
Okay.
selling a honey bucket alarm.
I have never heard of a honey bucket alarm.
This is an alarm. I'm going to show you a sample. Come up here and see that. As the bucket fills, it sets off a piezo alarm.
Okay.
Fully self-contained. Keep you from overflowing your honey onto the ground.
Okay, so when people are running their extractor and it's filling the bucket and they look away and they get busy doing something else,
Exactly.
this is going to let them know their honey bucket's filling. Okay.
Different models depending on how full you'd like your bucket before the alarm sets.
Okay. Oh,
So
okay.
let's say you want a full bucket, you may choose this number 45. That's going to give you a 2 1/8 inch fill.
Okay.
If you, like me, you get old and you don't want the bucket as full, you get something down in here, and then the bucket may only weigh 45 pounds instead of 60 pounds of honey.
Okay.
So it keeps you from having to lift those heavy buckets.
And it's a 2-component system. It's battery
It's only
powered?
one.
Oh, it's one.
It's completely self-contained. There's a 3-volt alarm battery in here that
Okay.
sets off the alarm when the float goes up. I've tested the alarm for 20 hours. I got tired of hearing it, so
Yeah.
I shut it off.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a 5-year shelf life on the battery.
Okay.
Then I have an advanced model for the commercial beekeepers. The first float, when it goes up, it sounds the alarm. The second float, when it goes up, it says the signal. Over this wire you make, it goes between here to this control box,
Okay, Sutton.
and whatever's plugged into here, you plug this into the wall. Whatever's plugged into here will automatically shut it off.
Shut off. Okay. This almost reminds me of a sump pump setup.
It is kind of.
Okay.
It's a little small, easier
Yeah.
for somebody.
I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
then
do.
it
I'm
works
doing my walkthrough now. See
with the
everything.
strainers.
Thank you.
Okay, you got room. Okay.
For the small hobbyists, if you have a little bigger system, I use that so I can use a deeper filter.
Okay.
Or if you still want to use it, you still use that on top of it.
How's the interest been? Have you sold a bunch of these at the
I'm doing
conference?
pretty good.
You are? Okay.
I probably
Is this
sold
your
about
first
30
year
of them.
showing this
Yes,
product?
it is.
Okay.
I'm sorry, y'all weren't. I wasn't fussing over here on the phone. was I?
You're totally fine. We need backyard ambiance.
And here's price list.
Okay. Oh, that's good. Not bad at all. All right. Was that it?
That's about it.
That's the pitch. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Has a little more chunks with the chain like that. Maybe a little harder on the frames too. I'm not sure. I'm old enough that I want to transition. Jeremy Lincoln's always John was talking about changes. Josh has to like that.
Thanks. Okay, so we're here at the Encaustic Art by Naranza, and this is your work.
Yes.
And okay, so the first thing that's going to be on the minds of people that are watching, what's encaustic art?
Okay. So encaustic is just like oil painting oil is the medium. With encaustic, the beeswax is the medium. But it's not just beeswax, it's 8 parts beeswax, 1 part damar, which is a pine resin that melts but at a higher temperature. That's what gives encaustic its durability. Encaustic is also the medium and the process, because every layer has to be fused with heat. Encaustic means to burn in.
Okay.
So it's fused in with a heat gun or a torch onto a rigid and absorbent surface like wood.
Okay.
And then every layer has to be fused. The encaustic medium is tinted with a pigment, either a powdered pigment, or I'm a former oil painter, so I leach out the oil in paper towels, pull out the pigment, and mix that with the medium. Or you can buy it ready-made and add that to your own beeswax. The only thing I have to buy is the damar, because we get the beeswax from our own beehives.
Okay. Oh, that's excellent. So
Yeah.
this is your own beeswax. What a great reuse of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about a little bit about your background? You mentioned you've been an oil painter.
Yes.
So what was that like, and why even transition from oils to encaustics?
Oh, it's a world of difference. I have done more painting since I've been with the encaustic because there's no cleanup. You turn off the heat, you walk away.
Okay.
You just wait a few minutes for the hot plate to heat up. You paint as long as you have time to. Turn off the heat. When you want to paint again, turn the heat back on. I have a dozen brushes. All kinds of brushes, natural bristle, that have the different colors on them. And then they just cool. When I'm ready to paint again, I warm them up on the hot plate
Okay.
and start painting again.
So now beeswax is melting at about 145 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
So with encaustic painting, is that like the temperature parameter that you're working
I
with?
put my hot plate on 200 degrees.
Okay.
And then I'll work on 2 pieces at once. So I'll work on one piece while it's kind of settling and cooling down. I'll work on another piece and I go back to the first one. By then it's cooled enough that I can go back in and then scribe into it or paint more layers onto it.
So then where is your studio located?
I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay. And so we're looking at some of the pieces. I've already scanned some as the opening for this interview. Would you like to describe one of your pieces and what the inspiration was for it, and just kind of what the process was to get you to a finished piece?
Goodness. let's see. Sky's the limit. Oh my God.
Well, I noticed you have a fairy,
Okay.
and I
so
kind of like that. So
that was for a pollinator event. And I
Okay.
just liked what the flower looked like. To me, it looked like a dancer. So I put in a little face. That face took me about an hour to do. But then the background could have been done in, half an hour because it's quicker. I put the beads in there. They're not absorbent. So
Okay.
I had to wire them in there. And then I just thought it looked like a dancer, so I called it Dancing Delilah.
interesting. Okay. Oh, and these were cool too. Now some of these almost look like. Do you do image transfers, or these are
I don't
all
like
painted?
doing transfers. You can do that with encaustic,
Okay.
but I don't like to do the transfers.
But you don't. These are actually painted pieces.
Well, some are all encaustic, like these outer space scenes are all encaustic.
Yeah.
This was when my first one that I did all encaustic. This is, I call it Impressionism of Impressionism because it's a Monet water lily
Okay.
scene.
Yeah.
Some of it has photographs in it. Let me find one that has, this
Okay,
one.
so that's not a transfer. It's a photo that you've done in
Photo.
caustic over the top.
And actually, that's a double photo. I printed it out twice, and you can see where the edge of the photo is, and then I paint on top and on the edges. And then I did another one where I cut it out. I cut out certain parts. It gives it some relief to stick
Oh yeah,
out.
yeah, very dimensional.
Something like this is all photos that I actually wrapped it, the whole thing on a block of wood and then painted on top. These are little photos that I paint on top, and I always paint on the edges. Here, my Be Marvelous series, because I put marbles in my bee
In your
bath,
drink?
in
Oh.
the bird bath. And instead of a bee on a flower, I thought, oh, these are colorful. I'll do bees on marbles. And then this is the my pollen medley, because I love the different colors of pollen in there.
Okay. Oh, let's talk about your butterfly. Two tigers.
I do backpacking. I was coming up a hill, and here was this tiger swallowtail on a tiger lily, and that's the under part of it, and that was my shot of the day. Oh my gosh, I love that. So that's a photograph that I cut out and painted on top of. And then I renamed it Two Tigers.
Now, why? Oh, because it's a tiger lily with a tiger swallowtail.
Yes.
Nice. Very interesting. I have to say, I really like this one right here as well.
Okay,
this
this
landscape.
one is all in caustic. I actually painted that on location, and it was a Christmas tree farm. So I walked down to the road and I picked up some pine needles and I embedded them in there.
Oh, very nice. So do you do what we would call plein air work? You said you did this on location?
I've done it a few times,
okay.
and just mostly so I can talk about honeybees, because I have a
Okay.
grill and I have my
Yeah.
torch, and
Okay.
I'm out there painting, but people see me from afar with a grill, they think I'm cooking, and they come up and they go, I didn't smell any food.
They think frosting.
And then I can talk about the importance of the honeybee.
Excellent. What a great tie-in.
Yes.
Absolutely. So how have people been receiving your work here? Have you had a lot of visitors?
Oh, yes,
Did
they're
you-
all fascinated.
Okay.
Last year we sat here and we talked about, we would say painting with beeswax over and over and over, because a lot of people don't know what encaustic is. So that's
Right.
why I did this little sign
Okay.
to quickly tell you that it's
That's
beeswax.
fine.
And then I'm really proud of this, that I entered this in the American Bee Journal calendar, and it made the December month.
Oh, nice.
So, and this is the original that I did, and so since it's famous now, my husband made a cherry frame for it.
Nice. Oh, and you've got some cats back
So
here.
I'll show you the. Oh well,
Yeah.
let me go back to this
Okay.
one though.
Yeah, yeah.
This is where I cut out his photo with the frame, and then I paint the background. I inscribe into it while it's molten, and then I adhere this and paint on top. And what was really cool was the smoke coming out of the smoker.
Oh, yeah.
You dab on the white, and then you put the heat to it, and it starts melting, kind of like smoke.
Yeah.
So
Very
that was
nice.
cool.
Is this a mandarin?
Yes, it is. This one is all encaustic, no photo on it, and I used a torch to fuse the whole thing. I used dental tools for the detail, and I was surprised at how the torch held the detail, because I call it kissing the surface because you barely put the flame
Yeah.
on the surface.
Wow.
But that's enough to fuse it.
Wow, very interesting. Oh, and I like this too. I like everything.
So that's like a photograph again that
Yeah.
I've cut out, painted on top, added some beads to it.
Harvest Hope.
This was I took a photograph of a harvest moon, and so this is the photograph that I cut out. You can see actually the photo is just this small. I painted the rest, and then this is horsetail, actual horsetail I was growing. I put some bees in, I put some pollen in there, and I just called it Harvest Hope.
So you take the horsetail and you just apply it
I
to the
actually
surface?
put a lot of wax on there,
Okay.
you know, to make sure it sticks.
Very interesting. Now, this is probably a silly question. Do you have a favorite piece that you have
Oh.
displayed today? Or you just kind of like them all for different reasons?
It evolves. For example, this is a new piece that talks about how herbicides will affect a bee's nervous system and it can't forage. So this is like the labyrinth that shows the chemicals going in, you know, gradually will get to the bee. So it's some environmental awareness. I'm starting a new series of bee gods and goddesses. And so this one is all in caustic. Bubila, the Lithuanian god of drones, beer, and mead making. So I just made up that image out of my imagination. That's a horn that back in the day they carried their mead in.
Very interesting. Okay.
So no favorite pieces. I love doing this. I really love my pollen medleys. I love doing my outer space scenes.
Mm-hmm. I like those too. And this is your card. So
Yes, and then it's-
people that are interested, is there a website?
Well, you Google my name and I'm everywhere. You can
Okay.
find all kinds of news of stuff I've done.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for your time today. I really
Thank you so
appreciate it.
much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so finally I get to come to Natalie's Beekeeping with Natalie booth, and you're selling your stuff, but
Yep.
you are the youngest beekeeper, right? That's actually, come on. You are. Who's younger than you and has a booth? Nobody. Okay, so,
Okay,
and you live in the great state of Missouri.
Right?
Okay, and you keep your bees there.
Uh-huh.
And you're 16 now, right?
Yep.
So you're driving.
I am.
Are we safe on the roads?
No.
Okay.
You know, everybody outside is talking about it. They
They
park
are?
far because
They
they're
parked
scared.
far because they're scared. Okay. So what's hard about being a young beekeeper? Anything, or is it just a breeze? Everybody supports you. It's all sunshine and
There's more benefits to it than bad, for sure. But
Okay.
I think my biggest thing is not having anybody around my age that understands it. I guess.
where you live, you're saying?
No, just like here. I mean, look around. There's not a whole lot of people around.
You do
my
have
age.
kind of a fellowship, though, of younger
Right.
beekeepers.
Yeah, but
Okay.
it can be difficult to kind of relate to everybody around me, and like I don't know. I think like having Emily here and some family is always nice. because
Emily, your
they
professional
understand.
portraitist who
Right,
takes care of
right,
your
yep.
public image?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Emily, by the way.
Hey, just in
Okay.
case you don't want to be on it.
Yeah. So you've actually been doing this since you're really young, because you have Beekeeping with Natalie, your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And how old were you when your parents forced you? I mean, when you started to keep bees?
Right. Well, my dad started when I was 8, and then I started doing it with him. So. I was
So were
probably
you
8.
on YouTube at 8?
No, I think it was like. No. No, I think
Her
it was
sister
like 12.
says 10. You say 12.
Well, because I haven't been
10,
doing YouTube for 6 years.
12.
So it's probably about 4 years.
Since you were young,
Yeah.
preteen.
Right.
Okay, so you are growing up on YouTube,
Yeah.
sharing about bees and beekeeping in the state of Missouri. And what happens if you wanted to change your mind? What if you woke up tomorrow and you wanted to be, I don't know, a cattle rancher or something?
I worry about that all the time.
Yeah,
My
because
mom
your
asks me all the
your
time,
parents
too.
have invested in your future.
A bunch of people have.
And you have said that you will be a beekeeper until the last bee flies into the sunset, or whatever you
Never
say.
said that.
Okay. So, no, but do you feel like, what if the steam runs out? What if you wake up one day and decide, oh man, beekeeping, I don't know. Is it really a part of you to where you know for sure this is your future?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I'll go through a little short spot where I'm like worrying about it, and I'm like, do I really want to do this? Like, kind of stressing about it. But the second I get back into a hive, my mind changes back to beekeeping.
So it's being around the bees.
Yeah, like this kind of stuff kind of tests me a little bit because I'm not
Engaging
very-
with the public.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I'm very introverted, and like that kind of part of it is difficult. But the second I get back into splitting and queen grafting,
Yeah.
I'm fine, and I definitely want to do it.
Yeah, and they've spoken a lot about your queen grafting skills. Apparently, you're really good at it. I think someone said you're a beast at grabbing
Really?
nurse bees and putting them in cages.
Oh, that would be Corey.
Yeah, Corey Stevens.
Yeah.
And so you've done a lot of work with Corey then?
Yeah. We go down there about once a year and kind of learn from him.
To Corey's
Yeah.
bee breeding. Okay, yeah, they all speak highly of you. In other words, you're
That's
kind
good.
of unrivaled, right, in that regard. So, what's been the thing that, when you did it for the first time, just caused you a lot of anxiety when it comes to beekeeping? Grafting seems easy. You're not really interacting with the bees too much. And so you're transferring eggs, or are you transferring larvae?
Larva. Yeah.
Why don't we transfer eggs when we're grafting?
Why don't we?
No, I'm asking you this for an interview.
Oh, well.
So this is for someone who may not know, who's watching, that could say, hey, why aren't we just nabbing the eggs and sticking them in there? Why do we wait until it's a hatched egg and it's an actual larva?
Well, I don't know the answer.
Is it easier? Okay, well then we'll move on. So that
I don't
was,
know the scientific perfect answer. So
Yeah.
Skip.
So an egg may not be viable.
Right.
For example. Okay, so I'm not here to answer questions that I'm asking you. So, and we do have a website, beekeepingwithnatalie.com. You're selling your shirts and stuff.
Yeah.
What's the hottest shirt design you've got that people have asked for or are selling the most?
About that green one right there.
The one with the
flag.
bees that are stars for the
Yeah.
flag.
Yep.
Okay. Now, who designs that?
We kind of go back and forth with a couple of people, and I forgot what her name was.
Somebody who's actually doing graphic design work for you?
Yeah, yeah.
How'd you come up with your logo?
How was that? We had there was some family members, friends, stuff like that. But I knew I wanted to put a veil on there, and I
With a
didn't
hat
want it to
with
be
a
too
flower?
girly, but I did kind of. So that's
Yeah, and the
that.
color scheme, that's part of your trademark too, right?
Yeah.
The coloration.
Right.
Okay, so what are you looking forward to the most in beekeeping? What haven't you done that you want to do, or how do you want to change maybe the trajectory of your beekeeping? What do you want to do?
Yeah, well, we wanted for a while, we wanted to take bees to California and doing pollination. We're still talking about that. I don't know if it's going to happen, but honestly, I just want to get to the point where we're selling hundreds of nukes a year and queens.
So you're selling
and stuff
nukes,
like that.
that's your
Yeah,
goal?
We've been doing a lot of nukes and queens and honey.
Okay. So honey production is not high on your list?
Honestly, I don't think I want to go too much into honey production. I want to stay more on the queens and nuke side of it.
Because I mean, you're going to get into genetics and things like that
Yeah.
too? Okay. Do you have a preferred genetic strain right now?
Right now, anything from Corey.
Anything
that's
from
kind
Corey.
of what I'm liking right now, yeah.
Okay.
But we just have a mix of everything, so I don't
Okay.
have a
You
specific.
have a trait that you're looking for, or just you want them to be
Nothing.
Varroa resistant?
We were
or-
kind of messing around with that a little bit, yeah.
Okay. One tragedy, something that was so bad you almost wanted to quit beekeeping. Give me a bad day in the life of Natalie. You walked out there and squirrels ate all your bees or something.
Probably, honestly, one of the days this year was really bad. I walked out there, there's a bunch of dead hives, and we were doing splits in the rain, but none of the grass were taking.
What time of year was that?
That would have been like May-ish.
In May? Okay.
I think so, yeah. It was a rough year.
So, yeah. So what do you do with your dead outs?
We usually try to clean them up as fast as possible so that we don't get any wax moths in there or mice
Okay.
or anything. But we save all of the wax that we can if it's still good, and I try to pick it up as soon as possible.
Okay.
It doesn't
Who's
always
helping
happen.
you out the most?
Right
when it
now,
comes-
my dad.
Your dad does?
Yeah. My
And
mom
you-
does a lot of like the social media side of stuff.
Social media? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so because you're underage, right, so your parents kind of have to do a
Yeah.
lot of decision making.
Yeah.
Do you have a truck or anything cool for transporting?
We are working, yeah. We just like completely redid the transfer case on it, so now we got to put that in, and then it'll be.
I have never heard a teenage girl say the transfer case, and we redid it. Are you a motorhead tw? Or do you get
No,
in there? Oh, you
I'm not-
don't.
I'm
You just
not.
happen to know what it is.
No, I mean I was the one who did it, but
You did it. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
YouTube.
You did a
YouTube
YouTube.
it.
Oh, okay. YouTube is a marvelous resource for learning how to do things.
Yeah.
Okay, your favorite product from Bees?
Favorite product is probably mine. The grafting tool.
The grafting.
No.
You actually sell grafting tools?
Yeah.
Wait a second, but that's not your favorite grafting tool. According to one of your videos, you had the little
It changed.
plunger. Oh, it changed with marketing, the idea that you could make money from it?
No.
I see what's going on.
No, the Chinese is just not my favorite anymore. Chinese grafting tool.
Okay.
I like
All
the
right.
Swiss one now.
And the honey that you're selling here. Now, I watched an interview that you did with Cayman Reynolds where he was doing honey tasting, and you just said, tastes like honey. So, has that evolved, or does it all just taste like honey to you?
I'm not a honey fan.
You're never going to be a honey sommelier, right? So you're not going to be one of those people that knows exactly where it came from.
I don't like honey that much.
Oh my God, you did not just say that to everybody.
I'm not in it for the honey.
Okay,
though.
there's a teenager watching right now,
Okay.
12, 13. What advice do you have for them? They're thinking about beekeeping, another young person. What advice do you have after you've been through it to this point?
Okay, I would say I've got a lot of little points that I like to tell people. One of the things is your first year or second year, you just have to be able to learn from your mistakes, because the amount of mistakes that we made in the beginning is insane. And it's really hard with beekeeping because you're going to make a mistake the second you get into the hive, and you can't just like let that ruin it for you.
Right.
Another thing for me would be connections and relationships with people. Like this right now is really important to me because this is helping me network and get to know more people, and getting on other people's channels, talking with other people. And it's not about using each other, it's about just building those relationships to help each other. Like I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for like Cayman or Dirt
Right.
Rooster. So having those connections with people is really important.
Okay, that's really good.
Thanks.
So do you mentor anyone?
No, we do have a small bee club that we're doing in our town because a lot of people ask for that to do mentoring with us.
Yeah.
And we just don't want to have one specific person, so we decided to
Okay.
start a bee club. And that's what we did.
Now, last year you were part of the youth program here, right?
I don't think I was last year. Last year we decided I wasn't going to be a part of it anymore.
Okay, why was that?
I don't know. Cayman said I was just.
He said you're out?
Yeah.
He didn't
pretty
say
much.
why? Okay.
Yeah. I don't
So
know.
now when it comes to public speaking, getting up in front of a bunch of people,
Yeah.
that's not your favorite thing, right?
Right, I don't
But you
enjoy
don't mind if they're peers, right? Your own group, your own age
That's
group?
even harder, actually.
Okay, why is that hard?
I don't know. I think it's because I don't know what they're thinking, but I do, you know, because we're similar. It's scarier.
Scarier.
Yeah.
And so define that a little bit. Are you afraid they'll be critical, or that they'll...
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah?
Because they're my age and I know how we talk to each other, so I know
That's
how
interesting.
some people talk and how it can get around.
Okay, I have a 9-year-old grandson that's going to be here next year when he turns 10.
Yeah?
He's been keeping bees since he's 2, according to him. Would you actually talk to him? His
Yeah?
name is Quinn. Just give him a shout out. Say hello,
Hey,
Quinn.
Quinn.
Tell him he's an
Hello.
above average beekeeper.
No.
No.
No, I'm kidding.
All right. Say Quinn, just stay with it. You'll make it one day. One day you'll be as good as me, Quinn.
I can't say that.
That does it. All right. Well, I want to thank you for talking to me, and I think you actually have set a fantastic example for young people in beekeeping. It's hard to handle criticism. You are out kind of in the open with your YouTube channel. What makes it, when people are leaving comments and things like that, right?
Yeah.
What impact does that have? Are you looking for favorable comments, or, I mean, can that slow you down? Just the idea that people might be commenting on exactly what you're
Right.
doing? How does
Yeah.
that play out in how you make a video?
The comments in the beginning of YouTube really didn't bother me at all. Like
Okay,
I
when you were
saw a
really
lot of
little?
the,
Yeah.
like I saw a lot of the good, nice stuff that people were saying, and that always outweighed the bad.
Very
it
supportive,
didn't really,
okay.
It didn't really matter. And the more I do it, the worse it gets. Like I got somebody the other day telling me I don't know anything. So it's just
They actually
it's-
said you don't know anything?
Yeah. So and like sometimes I'll get off of the stage and people come up to me and say, you know what you're doing. And it.
Wait a
that can
second,
be-
this is in real life? That's not like
That
on,
happened like last year.
in real life?
Yeah, somebody came up to me right after I got off and was like, you don't know what you're talking about.
That's super rude.
Never. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just support somebody?
I don't know.
Wow, how do you respond to somebody who
I
you
think
say just walk away?
I pretty
mean,
much just said okay and I walked away because I'm not
That's harsh. And I just want to put the word out since we're talking right now. If you've got nothing good to say,
Don't say
hold
no.
your tongue, because we should support our youth, for
Yeah.
Pete's sakes. It's hard to be out there.
Yeah.
I mean, your sister dodges the camera,
Right.
and she's a camera person.
Yeah.
So there we go. Well, thank you
But-
for spending time and
Yeah,
talking to me.
of course.
Closing statement, closing line for anybody?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Nothing.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thanks a lot.
Divergence.
Yep.
So the full kit has the cell cups and the bars and the grafting tools and the brackets.
Hey, so finally we're catching up with Rob, Laura Bees. Is it Larabes?
Larabes.
Larabes.
Lori.
Okay.
Cheers. Mom, Lori, Rob, Laura.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's lots of buzz on the street with your new ultralight version of your oxalic acid
Yep.
vaporizer, the
Yep.
Instant Vape Light.
Yep. So we have that unit here.
Let's talk about it.
So you'll see it is very trimmed down.
Yeah.
So I like this thing for a few reasons, and I think it matches a very certain hole in the market in a lot of ways. So one of the biggest things is the design, right? But once we get past that, the bowl is different, follows the same patterns and principles of the larger Instant Apps, but it's got a single cartridge heater in it instead of a dual heater. To compensate for that, it's got a smaller cook pot to equal the same amount of heat up time and treatment time. The problem is, well, I won't say problem, but the only drawback to it is the warm-up time to get back up to that start temperature is not with those. It's almost instant when you can walk colony to colony. When it's done, you can move to the next. This has about a minute or so heat up, so you end up being about a minute, 20 minute, 30 seconds for a 4-gram dose.
Yeah.
For 10 colonies, 20 colonies, it really doesn't matter if you're 30 seconds or a minute and 30. It's kind of trivial. When you start getting into a lot of hives, those things start to matter.
Okay.
On the light units, we even still have a plunger.
Whoa, that looks tiny.
Yeah, so that's one of the new things that happened. So because of the cartridge heater having a different design, you can't really get a tall plunger down into that barrel.
Okay.
How things are shaped, so we had to have a different plunger with it.
But that still holds up to a 4 gram?
Still holds 4 grams.
Okay.
You don't lose anything there.
Okay.
By any means, still fully adjustable, infinitely adjustable between 1 and 4, so you can tweak things as you go. Still can handle it just fine. Same exact processes. I think they're really great. It works very well. You'll notice our standard red light. If you guys have seen the compact unit, that's now the indicator instead of having the full screens that are big and bulky.
So it shows it's up to temperature, or?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a go, no-go light. So it does a solid light when it's ready and up to temperature. It does a fast blink when it's treating, and then it tells you like, okay, I've got no load, but I'm still heating up. So then it goes to a slow blink just to tell you like, hey, like you can start moseying to the next colony. I'm just kind of doing my thing.
Is the diameter of the delivery tube the same? Is
Yes,
that
it is
physically
an
it's all the
identical
same?
piece.
Okay.
It is a physically identical piece. So that's a big piece. The next piece, because it's a single heater, is the battery. So for years we've been pitching 5 amp hour, 5 amp hour, 5 amp hour minimum. Across the board, no power stack. Power stack DeWalt batteries are still a no-no. They don't work like they claim for these units, just because they're heavy lifting units. But you can run a 2 amp hour batteries and get through, 5-10 colonies, depending on air temps and dosages and that kind of thing. But basically one of the smallest DeWalt batteries you can buy, or Milwaukee, Makita, Bosch, or whatever the unit you pick.
So you're compatible. They have to specify that when they buy it, which battery they want to have.
Right. And
Is
that's not
DeWalt
something
your
we
most
choose.
popular, by the way?
So DeWalt is like the fan favorite, and rightfully so. I mean, we are in a woodworking, community. I mean, that is what it is. And DeWalt for years has been really known for their woodworking tools and planers and all that stuff. So it makes a lot of sense why DeWalt is the favorite. And for a lot of ways, especially during the holidays, you can get deals on batteries, which just make it really justifiable for these.
Yeah.
So speaking of batteries, if you ever do, your viewership ever goes to buy batteries, don't buy them on Amazon. Like, these units are a really good investment. Don't go out and buy junk batteries, or, hey, I can save $50 here, because it may only last you a year.
Where should they buy them?
Big box stores. It sounds
So Home
crazy. So
Depot,
Home Depot, Lowe's,
Lowe's,
a
they
trusted
carry the good
source.
batteries.
It is. You're investing in a quality product. This unit is only as good as the power supply. If you put a bad power supply on it, you're only going to get half the treatments.
Right.
I can't help that.
We still have the rule like that. Original Instant Vape, you wanted them to stop at like 15 amps or something.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about any of that anymore.
So those have automatic
6
cutouts?
months into that or so, we started switching over to the automatic cutoff, which is a proprietary chip that Janos at Instabat installed.
Okay.
We offered that as a service to retrofit those models if people had these. And then starting with the compact there forward, everyone has that as a standard feature. So that decision is not by any means done with the battery itself. Like they need protection. I believe the only one that does it is a Ryobi battery, which is kind of funny because they're generally a lower tier, so they have more electronics than the bigger ones. So I found that pretty interesting. But yeah, so quite interesting. Even these will cut off at the 15.2 volts, like you said.
Automatic.
So automatically, they don't have to worry about anything.
What is this?
So that is a device that I started tinkering with. This is really a discovery piece that I want to get people's feedback on. This was built out of necessity for me. So I love my Apame boxes. 10-frame boxes get really tight after a bunch of inspections. I get a lot of propless where my B space is, where my frames meet. And I get in there and I scrape with my hive tool, and I never really find a good angle for it or end up gouging something. And if I don't do that to clean those frames up periodically, I wind up like jamming the last frame in, or I'm like going like this and rocking it back and forth to really force that frame in. So this is literally a pocket frame scraper for that. So you can see it's got a little channel.
Pocket frame scraper.
It's got a little height to it, so you can get in there and scrape an edge if you need to, or like a zero height planer on this backside.
Where's your demo frame?
So I didn't bring one. I wanted one that had material on it, but it just is what it is. I know it's kind of funny. I'm selling a frame scraper.
That's
frame
fine.
Scrape.
Well, because you posted that on Facebook, I think, and I was like, "What is that thing? I don't even know what that does." So I'm glad you've explained that. So that's for frame scraping.
So these have been a super hot ticket. So we are getting more into the manufacturing space and developing things. So this is another really unique thing. I had a big fear of these for a while as a new beekeeper. This is a Easy Check. As you can see, it just doesn't have the yellow top to it.
The original yellow top, that's a leaker.
So they actually fixed that. So I did not like these when I was first talking to them because they leaked everywhere. You don't want to make a mess of stuff.
Yeah.
So apparently that was a quality control issue that they fixed. So they were like, hey, if they leak, you buy a new one, they leak, like we'll replace it. They've been very religious about that. So that's apparently the case with all the new ones. That's why we've invested in them and buying a bunch of them to sell. That being said,
I didn't realize I was calling out your own stock there. So they're fixed. They don't leak anymore. We clarified that. Good. Yeah. Okay.
So the problem that this had is I'm in a rush. I mean, I run a business. I'm always moving. I'm hustling.
Yeah.
As it turns out, I wash queens with my bees.
Sure.
Not a good plan. So what ends up happening is I'm trying to help my colony. I end up hurting my colony.
Yeah.
So I use some of the same principles. This is a queen excluder that I designed. Same principles that we already use in our bee box.
Okay.
For the Easy Check. It just sits right on there. So what happens is you take and put your sample in there.
Okay.
And then we have what I call the puck, which is just a simple weight. This is a hollow 3D printed piece, which we will have injection molded to not. It'll be redesigned to not be this heavy, but regardless, it's just a very gentle weight that goes in there and drives the bees down.
Oh, so it just rests on them and the bees move out of the way of it.
And it just easily drives them down through that filter.
And if your queen were there, you'd have her on top of that, and she would not engage.
So what ends up happening is you're left with, instead of sorting through 300 bees that are all moving around trying to see if your queen's in the batch, you're looking at potentially drones if you're in that time of year, and a queen if you have to. So if you want to sample your drones too, you can very easily glance, go, oh, she's not in there, and dump them in there too. Or you can go, oh, I just want to sample the nurse bees, and back in the colony they go. I've heard it done a few ways, so there's some options there. So that being said, I went through this whole process. So I wanted to make testing a lot easier for people now that we've got treatment so locked in. So this piece here is my sampling and grafting tray. So this is a piece that I built, again, out of necessity. It's in a stored configuration, so this bracket here comes off. But you'll notice we've got two handles on the back, and it's a frame of the shape of a frame. So what happens is you sit this on top of your bee colony, you pick out
Where's your sample frame for that?
I'm going to show you. It's right here. So between my hands is a sample frame. Loaded. It's the best frame you've ever seen,
Okay, I like it.
Right
it's
here,
wooden.
and
It's
you
great.
shake one, and all your bees pile up here.
All right.
Those are great bees, by the way. I know you can't see them on camera, but they are great bees. And then you grab your second frame, you shake them here, and what ends up happening is you have enough nurse bees here to pile up. Some of them will hold on to this.
You're going to pour them through that corner?
And you literally just grab on the corner like this and give them a shake. and you can go right in. So the only downside with that, with you going direct into the cup, is you're semi-guessing at the volume of bees in your wash. You can kind of eyeball it. It's something that I plan to have a notch or something in there so that you can get a better guess at it. But I hated the bucket thing or the Tupperware
Scooping them out of the tub.
scooping them out, and it just was too much of a mess. So this way, I don't have to look for queens at all. I literally grab frames that I think are the right ones I want to sample, shape the frame, go immediately into here, let it filter through. The one thing I will warn you, for those who may experiment with these, you have to do the Dawn dish soap method. I know you talk about this a lot. The fumes from
Dawn
isopropyl-
Ultra Free and Clear.
There you go.
Okay.
So the isopropyl alcohol fumes will actually hurt the queen after a while of sitting in here. So it's something that is an easy fix. Just convince them to do the Dawn method, which I think is much better personally, and that problem goes away. That's the only downside that I've seen with it. It does have a stop on the back of the puck so that the queen can't be crushed.
Oh, okay, so it's a crush
or
stopper.
anything.
Yeah,
right.
I like
so
it.
That was the one issue I had. So now I can just let her sit in there forever like it's a cage. I can sit it to the side, what have you, and she's just fine, nice and content in there because of that stopper. It can't crush her.
Okay, I noticed something else. You have Ox Vape here. You're preferring that over Apis Bioxyl?
So big time. So I've dealt with all the companies on a business level for a while.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that the cheaper that we can make treatments, the more likely people are to treat their bees. Just is what it is. It's why we've invested in new things and brought lighter units to the light unit to the market and all that. This is a U.S. company. I've dealt with other company. They're a French company.
Veteran owned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
EasyOx is a veteran-owned company based out of Ohio, and I'm really happy to work with them. It really cut the price almost in half for the consumer to have certified oxalic acid, and really I couldn't be more proud to work with them. I really, it was a great swing. It was a necessary thing to kind of break down, in my opinion, a monopoly that was going on in the States. Granted, nobody else really took on the challenge, but they did it. I'm proud of it. I'm very happy to support them in it. And they're the only one I carry now because I believe in it that much.
Have you tried the tablets? You like them?
So the tablets for the instant
Because they won't work because they just fall out, right?
So they can work in some scenarios. Personally, I think it's an extra step for these units. They have their place in the market. With our corded units or other corded units on the market that don't have a dispenser, they have their place in the market. With the dispenser ones, it's as easy as pulling this plunger out, sticking it in a bag, sticking it back in, and hitting it, and you're done.
Yeah.
So to pull it out, stick a tablet in, and put a plunger in, you're
And you
adding
have to
a
do it
step.
upside down and then just slip it right, set up for the tablets to fall out.
Yeah,
or you're going to hit the oxalic
you're
right
adding
away.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're adding steps a little bit. I do believe that they have a good place in the market. I just don't think that it's for ones that have this tier of dosage applicator attached to it.
Okay. How about your ammo containers? You sell a lot of those to transport and store your
so
stuff?
we sell a lot of those. I keep an instant VAP under my back seat in my truck in one of those because I just find it super practical, and normally I'm out in the bees and I'm like, oh crap, I have to treat the bees. So what ends up happening here, this is another one of my creations. So you've got two battery brackets. So far they only fit DeWalt and Milwaukee. They're the two primaries, so that's what we ended up doing fitment-wise. The vaporizer itself fits in the cavity here, holds it pretty nice and stable. As you can see, the lid would not shut with the plunger out, so we just have 3 plunger holders, so you could set them to different dosages, you could have spares, what have you, as well as you can put your oxalic acid in here. And the way that the unit is, the hot section is away from your bag, so it'll never melt your bag or anything like that. The dehydrative properties of the oxalic acid will whip potential moisture from the unit over time if you're just uncleaning or what have you. But the biggest piece is these units retain so much heat and are good at it, the front of it will stay hot.
Which is why they cycle so fast.
Right. But when you're done with it, you got to let it sit there for 15 or 20 minutes until it stops off-gassing, to sit inside of your car or something in a confined space. So this way, it's got a great gasket seal. These are brand new ammo cans, US-made cans. And you just throw it in there, shut the can, and you can go immediately. Sit it on your truck seat. It's not going to get hot. You're not going to burn things. You know, that's why we used ammo cans. They're a tried and true thing. They've been great over the years for many applications.
Well, I can say I like it. I have one.
Yeah,
so
they work very
Do you ever
well.
store a plunger in the handle of that thing?
Oh, yeah.
You have?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you?
I do not, because I only have one.
So some guys. So here's the reality. So The only time that even at these shows, that I will ever convince somebody to get a second plunger is two times. One, they'll buy for peace of mind, but the only reason why I will pitch to them that they may need one is if they have multiple 10 frame and 5 frame hardware all intermixed in their yard. So if they end up, having to sit there and adjust this thing, because it is a fine thread screw where they can be very precise, it's so much faster to be able to have a 2 gram and a 4 gram, or a 2
okay,
gram
I
and a
see.
3 gram.
Yeah, that would
they
make
just
sense.
keep the other one in the handle, so instead of having to do their fine adjustment, they just, I got to do it too, and they swap it out.
Okay.
So it's a time is money thing. That's what this whole thing is. This is an investment, just like your bees are an investment. The entire way, what woodware you pick, what suppliers you pick, how the whole process is an investment. So time is money. So when you start justifying things, that's where you land. So we always have some great conference deals. So people who don't know, I really try every year to show out as much as we can with our discounts at these shows. We try and support as much as we can at these shows, because it's just a great environment. It really is a great thing. I think Cayman's doing a phenomenal thing at these shows. The youth programs are phenomenal.
You are the first one to thank Cayman Reynolds during your interview. That is way to go, Rob.
Somebody has to say it. He's not. I thought
he's the
behind
reason
me telling me to
everybody's
do it.
here.
I'm sorry.
He's
Anyway.
the reason everybody's here. Yeah. Good job.
So
All right. That's a great presentation. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Always great to catch up
Sure
with you.
thing. Likewise.
Yep.
Thanks for coming by.
So we're here with Hidden Hollow. And what's your position with the company, Mark?
I'm one of the partners.
One of the partners.
Yeah, we're owner-operated for partners in the business.
Okay, so obviously we're at the expo where new things get shown. Is this Queen Pen Queen marking system? Someone came to me and said I have to come over here and see what you've got.
That's great.
And since it's new and innovative, I think it fits right in with what we're going to share about the expo overall. You want to explain a little bit about, I recognize the individual components, but tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so we recognize that our customers want queens marked. And it takes time to mark them. It's unsafe for the queen if you're not good at handling them. That takes a lot of practice. So we're trying to put that in the hands of the hobby beekeeper who maybe can't choose where they get their queen from, right? Maybe they get it from somebody that doesn't mark queens. So we're trying to allow them a tool that will work with multiple cages. So if you receive your queen in this cage, it fits in this side and stays. You receive your queen in this cage, pop the cap open, line it up with that hole there, so that the whole concept here is to get your queen plug off, your queen cage lined up, and then once that happens, these are probably most common, I guess, and then you get your one-handed queen marking cage. You put that in here, make sure your plunger is back and your gate is open. She will work in there. Now, sometimes it helps to rotate vertically, but the good thing with this particular model of one-handed cage is it does kind of stay in place. She tends to want to go vertical, that helps. And then once she's in, you shut the gate, remove the marking cage, mark your queen, allow her time to off gas and dry. Open your cage, coax her back in. This is designed with a funnel on this side to try to get her orientated, at least hopefully in the right direction. Like I said, the bees don't always cooperate with us, right? But she will eventually go through that hole back into your cage, and then you simply take this off, pop your cap, and introduce your queen to the colony.
Okay.
So that's basically what it's about. Like I said, it accommodates several queen cages, and we sell it without a one-handed queen catcher because many people already own one.
And there are a lot of different varieties, by the way, of that available.
There are.
They don't
They're
all work
all
the
generally
same.
the same size.
Yeah.
We've tried two of the most common, and they
Okay.
fit. One is a little looser than this, but this is
But not enough
really
to where the
cool.
queen would get out.
No.
Hold on a second.
No, definitely not enough. We sell it without, and then we sell it with.
Okay.
At the show, the price has been $21.99 without and $34.99. The queen cages alone retail for around $25, so not a bad value when you get both.
And now, is this the first time you've launched this? Is this your introduction to that?
Yeah.
What are people saying?
We're getting a lot of good feedback.
Yeah.
Especially when I get a chance to explain it, of course, and because they see it, but they're intrigued, and then they realize, oh, hey, that helps. I've had people buy it for their bee clubs today. Had a queen program in Michigan purchase one.
Did you talk with any of the queen breeders, the bigger ones?
The one person from Michigan is a queen breeder.
Okay.
And he bought one. And so we've gotten great feedback. Really excited about it.
What else are you selling that's popular?
Well, that's a good question. If we want to do a quick review here, these are new too. We designed these watering carts.
We can talk about that real quick.
Different models, yeah. This is the basic model with mainly built just for you to take 15 gallons of sugar syrup out to the field. And we're demoing that hose right there for that model, but it has a gas pump style fill tank, 4.5 gallons a minute pump. This pump was reviewed and tested by Bob Benny, so we went with it. We didn't feel like we needed to recreate the wheel.
Is Bob using some of these with his operation?
Not our design of cart, no.
What size battery we need with this?
12 volt battery. I'll show you on this one. So this cart is the deluxe. It will fill your tank through suction, depending on how you have the valves around.
What's the maximum lift on that suction? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what the maximum lift, but we've tested it. It works.
Okay.
And then we've got valves over here, so you can, on this one, you can actually recirculate.
Okay.
Draw in or operate your fill pump. Okay. The tires are airless.
Okay.
It has excellent balance. This has water in it. And
I see. Yeah. So it's the same tank we see over here, just in this.
And you see the battery now, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So this model, this has leads to hook the battery up.
Yeah.
On this side, it's all hooked up.
And you've got a tray, a drip tray up here?
Yeah, so what this is an option. It comes with a cargo net. So when you put equipment up here, you can put a cargo net over, clip it on, and your items don't fall off on the way to the field. When you lift out the top tray, you can access all of the wiring. And on the other side, we have 2 leads from the battery coming out, so you can hook up your accessory vaporizer wand and also charge the battery.
Okay.
Okay. Cup holder, tray, and then we have a swivel work stand here. So our idea is you have your storage area, and depending on what you're doing in that season, you're hauling out supers, or you're doing mite wash, or you're doing mite treatments. Or you're feeding, certain times of year, every week or every other week. So hauling this out with your fluid, and again, it's really well balanced. We put a bunch of boxes, supers on it, and strapped it down with the cargo net, and it pulls really easy.
So who designed the system? You did?
Aaron, one of my partners.
Aaron, your partner. And it's all aluminum, looks like?
Yes.
So no corrosion issues, stuff like that?
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
looking at this and thinking it's designed for sugar syrup. Handle the heavy stuff like 2 to 1.
Full strength. Even.
Full strength. Okay. And so what about people that are doing maple syrup and stuff? It almost looks
Yeah.
like you could use it for that.
You could
for a small scale
pour
system.
tree sap in here easily.
Yeah.
Fill your evaporator.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and this is the special here. What would this go for somebody that's watching now after the fact and they want to go online?
It is so new.
Yeah, you don't have a price
that
point.
We do have a compared to price, but I don't have it memorized.
Okay, so they'll just go to your website.
Yeah.
And what is the website called again?
HiddenHollowHoney.com.
HiddenHollowHoney.com. All right, that's very interesting.
We have this new product from Apicare. That's I encourage you to interview Justin about that.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I like your queen catching system,
Thank you.
marking system. Okay, so we're here with Bailey.
Hello.
And please tell us about the company and what your position is with it.
So I work for B-Bum. B-Bum has been going since, is it 2014 or 2012? 2014, and we're a family-owned business. We sell products like creamed honey, we do infused honey, we do products with our wax like lotion bars and lip balms, and we also have your traditional honey as well. So my position, I've been working for the company for about 4.5 years now, and I do a lot of the packaging and the labeling, and I also make the lotion bars and the lip balms, and I come up with the different scents for those as well.
Oh, that's nice. So we interviewed Kevin at last year's, and they had some really favorite flavors or favorite blends that are out here of the creamed honey.
Yes.
What are people really excited about? I'm looking at your taste test trays here.
Yes.
What are people tasting and going, oh, well, I have to have that the most?
Well, we have already sold out of, I think, 5 or 6 flavors now. This year's big popular one at the convention has been key lime. We sold out of it on the first day. But we do still have some of our best sellers, cinnamon, and we have 1 strawberry left. Those ones have been a fan favorite, along with our new twisted creamed honey.
Where's the twisted creamed
The twisted
honey?
creamed honey is right here, so if I grab one,
Who wants to be a taste
You can
tester
see
for twisted
We
creamed
did
honey?
when
That
we
there's
bought,
a
when we bought
swirl.
the cinnamon roll. It's delicious.
Do you do samples of twisted creamed honey?
I do. I got the samples of them right there.
Are they already on the?
They are already on the tray.
Okay, taste test. I need taste test feedback from the general public.
Is phenomenal. We bought it immediately.
Apple cinnamon is the bomb.
Apple cinnamon, your favorite?
Cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll.
Delicious.
Your favorite? Insider. Cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Kevin, your favorite. If you were left alone and nobody was watching you, what would you eat first?
The cinnamon roll.
The cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon roll, yeah.
Cinnamon roll. Okay, strong winners.
You gotta try one, Fred.
All right, here we go. I'm going to include. Frank's about to do it. Frank has cleared his palate. Cinnamon. He's ready. Would that be? Could you live on it for an afternoon?
I might need another one.
He needs another. Okay, Bailey, that's the best endorsement you can get is asking for another one.
That's all right. That's what we like
So
to hear.
the creamed honey. Now people can buy this online as well.
Yes, we have a QR code that they can scan that will take us to our website, and we also have cards as
And
well.
the website is bbumhoney.com.
Yes, and we do ship as well.
You ship all over continental United States or
We
international?
do, in the U.S. as far as I know.
Okay. Where are these made? Like, where does this happen?
We have, right now, we used to go out of their basement, but about a year ago we moved to a family farm that used to have a pumpkin patch for about 20 years. So what we used to call the pumpkin shed and sell pumpkins and other fall goodies out of is now the honey shed.
And where's that located?
It's located at a farm 5 miles east of Beatrice, Nebraska.
Wow, Nebraska. Okay. Oh, here we go. Judy, would you like to...
My favorite is the chili lime.
Can I video your opinion? So Judy says her favorite's the chili
Chili lime.
lime. And why is that?
Because I'm from Texas and I like things
spicy and sour.
So she's spicy. Okay, chili and lime. Well, I guess that's why we have this variety, because there is no solid favorite other than we know things that sell out, right?
Yeah, there's a little bit for everyone here. There's something for everyone to try. So we got some unique flavors. We also have some classic flavors as well.
What are these bottles?
So these are our infused honeys. The red caps are spicy, and then the yellow caps are not. We had a garlic, but we just sold out of it about an hour ago. That one has been a fan favorite, along with peach habanero, where I think we have one remaining bottle of that.
Wow. So where is your honey sourced?
Our honey is sourced from mainly wildflowers. We have, I think it's around 15 different clover.
So from your own apiary?
Yes.
Okay,
we
so
have
you're
around
raising your own
300
bees.
hives currently.
Okay, fantastic. So, what would you like to tell us? Anything new coming up? Any great flavors in the works?
Did you talk about the twisted cream honey? I'm sorry, I just walked in.
The what?
on this. Did you talk about the twisted cream honey?
A little bit. Would you like to give us a recap?
So that's like a whole new thing that I developed. It's been something that's been going on for the past 2 to 2.5 years in my brain, and the show was getting close, and I was like, I need to do something with it. So that's the first run. I hope to improve it more from here. But
What's the response so far? People like it?
Yeah, the lemon blueberry
Lemon blueberry sold out today.
Lemon blueberry sold out. So, selling out, that's a terrible thing to hear, isn't it?
It is a terrible thing.
Isn't it?
Our key lime was another one that went fast as well. So.
Okay, so last year when we talked, you did not enter any honey competitions. Is that the same for this year?
I got second at the Nebraska State Fair, and I'm not over that yet. So I'm
You
not
got second.
ready.
That's
I'm not ready to.
A hard-earned second. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're walking away from competition for now, but I guess the best votes ever are people's dollars, the
customers,
shopping. Yeah.
And honestly, like, this isn't competition grade cream honey, if that makes sense to you. It's production grade cream honey, so I'd have to completely do things differently than what we do right now to compete. And I can do it. It's just the time.
Yeah.
We make around 600 pounds of cream honey a week.
A week. Okay. Wow. So you're selling through a lot of retailers then, you must be.
No.
No,
My wife
just
does-
direct sales.
Yeah, so my wife does shows every week, 50 weeks a year, 2 to 6 shows a week. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I do have.
Bailey, closing words, closing thoughts.
Come out and try all of our different honeys that we have for you to sample. We are selling out of things quick. We actually just sold our last peach habanero a couple minutes ago. But come and see us.
Okay, thanks a lot. It's great talking with you.
Doing Fred?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Okay, from here.
And then we're gonna get with Fred.
Of course. Can you
These fans you have. So it is very demanding ratio, but it's been a lot of fun. Your experiences because you get to sit over there and judge. And we had a judge here. I was telling her this is the original in front of the style of judging. You got a picture with him. He is so fabulous to work with. He comes by and says, "Oh, this is lovely today." I can't do. Yeah.
All right, so Steve Stewart.
Yes, we call this a hive heater, but in actuality it's a hive dryer. And it's a solar and passive, and it's made to make bees survive a cold winter. Because 40 pounds of honey in this box equates to, if the bees eat it all, 3 gallons of water. 27 pounds of water for every 40 pounds of honey. Because when they eat sugar, they make CO2 and water. And they're clustered so they can't fan it out. This is a solar heater. The sun hits the plate, and there's air gaps here, so the air can come up, and as it's warmed, it comes into the hive, and then it comes up here and dries it out, and the heavier, colder air comes out the entrance, and it dries it completely out, and the humidity drops to almost nothing. And what I found was my bee loss went from 50% loss on a good year to 5%, and the bees were so strong in the spring. I got honey flows in the spring because they weren't worn out. They only ate 25% of the normal honey they used to run. 40 pounds is what I used to need. I've had them survive the whole winter in Utah on 10 pounds of honey. It's such a big deal. I wanted everybody to know about it because that's surprising to be able to do that. And having this on, the queens could lay 2 weeks to a month earlier. And so it expanded my season. And that's a big thing too. And also, in the middle of winter, if you've got a nice sunny day, it'll be warm in here and the bees don't cluster. You can fumigate them with oxalic acid because they're not clustered, and it works. First week in December, I get 100% mite kill. And then to put it on, all you got to do is take your top box off, slap it on. It hinges. It looks like that piece over there. It's all hinged together. And then, yes, we put the box back on, and your bees are winterized better than they've ever been before because that water gets taken out of the hive. And this man right here can tell us whether he's good because he knows more about bee equipment than anybody I know. But we are happy to have Fred down here to look at it. Actually, we're honored, shaking in our shoes. That's what I'm doing right now. But he has graciously given us a little bit of time, and we hope that he'll look at it and make a and give us some feedback. What he thinks of it. We're really
What is the rest of your configuration like? You've got a clear panel to demonstrate it,
Yeah,
right? But
that's
what do you
the
normally do for
Well, I
inner
like
cover?
a clear panel so I can watch them in the winter.
Okay.
So I usually have that, but there's just a lid on here. I have a spacer, and then a lid on top of that. It's insulated lid, and it's just a regular configuration. You don't modify your hive, you just separate it. However, if you're running one high, you can use it at the top and have your lid on top of it. But if you're running too high, I really like that because where it's high elevation, this can get 95 degrees inside to 100. But the box down here is cold. When they go out thinking it might be summer, and they turn around and come back. And they also, on a fairly cool day, a cold day where they should be clustered, since they're so warm in here and they need to take a cleansing flight, they can take a short cleansing flight because they're already warm and then come back. And I found that to be very healthy for the bees to be able to do, where normally they'd be clustered all the time and could not make the cleansing flight. So it's kind of an innovative product. We don't know all the advantages and possibilities with it. That's why we wanted an expert to look at it. So we're pretty excited about it, and hopefully can get the attention of some people that have winter loss problems. And that's basically what it is. It's no more complex than that. It's really simple.
Now, how long have you had this in your bee yard? How many seasons have you tested?
4 years ago, last month is when I got the idea, because I built a greenhouse and my bees were dying behind it, and I thought maybe I can do something like that for my bees. So it took 1 year to try it on one hive that was weak, and it got stronger all winter long, and it was really weak. It didn't have much feed, and so I fed it, and it got stronger and stronger and stronger till spring. So I said, okay, next year I'm going to put it on 25 hives, And I did, and I lost one hive that year when that to me was a miracle. That's never happened in my family of 4 generations of beekeeping in Utah. And I had a commercial beekeeper look at it as well. That hive that died, and he said it just didn't have a queen. They lost their will to live, or they would have made it. And then the next year, we did it again next year, and this is the 4th year. So it's so new that, well, nobody really knows much about it because the word of mouth hasn't started yet, but we started selling it this fall, and what we did by word of mouth was we sold, I think, 800 units in no time at all. We had no idea that the demand would be like that, and so we've been out of stock for a while till we can get them going again. But it's exciting to be able to get this much water out of a hive passively and have the bees so healthy. It's just an amazing thing to a beekeeper like myself, a retired beekeeper with 30 hives, who loves his bees and would do anything to make them survive, even try something like this. I would have done anything to make my bees survive. I love my bees.
And how's the response been for the visitors here at the expo? You sold a lot? You sold everything you brought with you?
We didn't have anything to sell.
Oh, okay. So
we were sold out. We just came and said, we will, if you buy, you'll get a shipment as soon as we get it.
Okay.
And it's been pretty strong. I don't know how many orders we took.
No, it's great.
We took a lot.
Successful.
Is this glass?
That's acrylic.
It's acrylic, okay.
And that's black painted aluminum.
Black painted aluminum panel that's inserted with a spacer. Okay, and so then, all right. And so this stays, when do you put this on?
I put it on when the first big winter storms are going to hit within a few days or 3 or 4 days before, because I know winter's going to be here. I don't put it on too soon because, like I said, I can warm it up a lot, and I want the queen to stop laying. So I'm cautious of that, and I really didn't know what to expect when I put it on my 25 hives. I didn't know whether they'd eat themselves out of house and home because they're
too much heat almost. Yeah.
Too much heat, or they're just walking around, and are they eating honey or not? So the 1st of March, I took them off, and I went to take off this top box, and I thought, I'm getting older because I can't lift these things anymore, but it was heavy. And I've never had heavy hives. I've always had to feed them in the spring. But it was heavy, and they were all heavy. So that was the first year in my life I never fed bees in the spring. So it was a real eye-opener for me.
Now, what's the exposure that you put this on? Is this east, south?
No.
Where do you put this panel?
We
What's
put
it?
this south.
South facing. Okay.
The first year, I had a few that weren't tilted all the way south. And those that were tilted all the way south, my experimental ones, had some foam behind them. And it melted the foam. It got over 200 degrees. Now this is in Utah, okay? We're up high and there's not much atmosphere, but it melted them. So that was a bad idea. So I redid them and got rid of the foam because I knew that wasn't going to work again. But they really get hot, and when the air comes up, since it's so warm, it can do serious evaporation. In fact, one I had feeders up here that look like this. Just let me get my computer. And they look like that kind of feeder that you could put feed in.
The rapid round? Okay.
Yeah, rapid round. And some of the bees didn't want to eat it because they had honey. They turned that into a brick. It sucked the water right out of it in the middle of winter and made a brick out of syrup. And so I knew it was going to be a really good dryer for the bees. And this is what the bees look like in the middle of winter. They're walking around, they're happy, it's really hot in there, and they love heat, and they look like happy bees. And if you love
How
your
could you
bees-
tell they looked happy?
Oh, they're just flapping their wings a little bit
Okay.
and walking around. Yeah.
Do you have questions? Anything comes to mind? Go ahead, ask away.
So you say it dries. How exactly is it bringing in air to dry it? Is my question.
Yes.
Because if it's humid inside and it's bringing in heat.
That's a really good question. You have to have an air exchange. If you just heat a hive, you're making a hot sauna. But if this gets hot and this air rises, it pulls in cold air behind it because it kind of makes a vacuum.
Yeah.
And the hot air rises and comes into here, so it's a constant air exchange until all the hive is dry. It's sort of like a clothes dryer, really. It's pushing it out and bringing in new, because what's discharged is moist air. Well, what is discharged here is moist air as well. And so it's so unique and so easy to use that if you get some sunshine, it's going to drive your hive out. 2 years ago, we had record snowfall in Utah, all-time record since pioneer days. And we only had 2 days of sunshine in November, 2 days of sunshine in December, 2 in January, and 2 in February. And I had contacted these honey haven guys, and we're testing it, and I'm telling them this is the greatest thing ever. And I am so scared because they're only getting 2 days of sunshine. But actually, we did really well that year. I'd made a mistake. I had put water in that feeder I showed you instead of syrup, and I gave them 100% nosema, diarrhea. They were all sick, every single one of them. But even with that sickness and with the 2 days of sunshine, I still only lost 20%, which was pretty darn good for me. But after all that, I repented from giving them water in the winter. I won't do that again, and we're back to the 5% or less. So I think it has real possibilities for the backyard beekeeper. I'd like to see more people have bees.
Some hive tools, those are free as well. Can't have too many of those, yeah?
Okay, so we're here with Jeff Hyde, and your company is Apis Tactical. Now, I have to say, I've seen Cayman Reynolds wearing some of your gloves.
Yeah,
All right.
we've had some good endorsements, and we appreciate that. But a lot of it is trying them out in the real situation. And fortunately for us, I guess, a lot of people do like them. They've been performing well.
Okay.
What I like to say, every product is a tool in the toolbox, so it depends on your management style. Sometimes it's the climate of which model that we have, or even if our gloves will work for you. So just recommend trying. I like to tell people, if you try our gloves and they just don't work for you for whatever reason, you just let us know, give you your money back. It's a risk trying something new, and these are a new design.
Okay, so is your emphasis on gloves specifically?
That's what we have right now, and that's what
Okay.
we're known for, but that's just because that's the first product that we've been able to get through the pipeline. So we're developing a completely new beekeeping brand.
Okay.
So what that means is we're going to be rethinking beekeeping products, and the places that we see something significant that we can change or improve, then we're going to try to bring that to market.
We're not going to be selling something that already exists that everyone else is selling just for the sake of being a supplier.
Okay.
That being said, we want to work through distributors, so eventually we want you to be able to buy our products wherever you like to buy your bee supplies. So we have a great wholesale program and more dealers. We're just new, so not that many have it yet.
Are there bee equipment retailers currently carrying your gloves?
Man Lake, Commercial Bee Supply, Texas Bee Supply.
Better Bee, any of those people?
We're talking with a lot of them, Dadent even.
So let's talk about what makes your gloves different. There must be something to enter a market that's already pretty well provided for.
Right, yeah.
And one of the things I have to say, when I think Cayman had these dark colored gloves, and there's a lot of discussion about the color of gloves and bee reaction.
Right.
I think it's not just the color, but color and texture. If it were hairy gloves or a fuzzy glove,
then we'd be in
you would
trouble.
get a much bigger response. You also have two materials, leather and goatskin.
Yeah, the goatskin is optimized more for dexterity in the feeling through them because it's thinner. Whereas the heavy-duty gloves are optimized more for durability, and so those are full-grain cowhide. So the longer gauntlet gloves are more for durability and protection.
Okay.
An interesting story about the colors, because we get that a lot. And the reason we started with black is because my experience is in North Dakota, and so northern bees. And with the black, we just thought, well, black, they won't look as dirty as quickly, so we just went with that, and they were working fine. Well, as the gloves spread throughout the United States, and especially in the southern climates, people were saying, hey, won't they attack black, because that's their experience in the warmer climates. And there's some reports that they will attack the black gloves a little more, although I've yet to see it. But in bees in certain parts will attack black. But interestingly, it's not everywhere. So for example, when I get some Canadian distributors, I said, well, you should have white and black to let your customers choose. They said, no, we don't want white. Why would anybody want a white glove when they could have a black glove? Interesting, right? Where in the South, of course, they go, why would anybody want a black glove? That's crazy.
Even hotter hands, right? So we're talking about, aside from
You
the
would think
potential
so.
reaction
Yeah,
from the bees.
there probably is to some degree, but these gloves are so much cooler than what you're used to because of the large holes. A lot of that moisture and heat are dissipating through the gloves. You'll probably be the coolest wearing gloves with bee protection that you can find. That's been our experience and what the feedback has been. Interestingly, so far, the black gloves outsell the white gloves 2-1.
Why is that?
Very surprising. I don't know.
Curb appeal? You think some people just like the look of a darker glove?
Probably something to it.
Yeah.
And
And I
they-
noticed there's something else cool. Sorry to cut you off. You're also selling leather conditioner. Is this?
Yeah.
And this has your brand on it as well.
Yep, we make ourselves.
Why did you decide to come up with your own? What's going to be different?
That is a unique formula because we're using avocado oil. There's a lot of mink oils and other types of oils, but one of the most important things with leather conditioner is not to dry the leather out. And the thinner oils over time tend to make the leather drier over time, even though when you apply it, it seems like it's moisturizing it. Avocado oil is unique because it's a longer chain fatty acid. It's just thicker, in layman's terms. But we combine a lot of lanolin. So lanolin is a product derived from sheep's wool, if you don't know already, and it's basically sheep's sweat, a sebaceous gland. So that's exactly what the leather is needing and looking for to replenish that particular type of fat in the leather. So the combination of those together, wax for the protection, beeswax of course, and the other two really do a better job. It's all natural,
So-
animal cruelty free, all that good stuff.
Okay, so you recommend when somebody gets a brand new set of gloves that they go ahead and use
Yeah.
that on it as a
Especially if
conditioner
they're-
first before they even
if
get
they're
out.
new, it keeps the stuff from sticking to it, right?
Yeah.
It helps them clean up better. Frequent cleaning, just washing like you're washing your hands, just to keep ahead of it. And I've even been having our gloves anyway. I don't know about anyone else's, but I put them in the laundry, and as long as it's with a full load of laundry, they've been doing quite well. And they come out, suddenly all the propolis is gone. just because I think the tumbling with the other clothes.
With you spreading propolis through the other clothes.
It sounds like it would, but I understand. I think it gets mixed
it's
with the
thinned
water.
out so much it doesn't matter.
I think once it's in the water, it's not sticky. But and I always tell people, okay, go home, do that, and if it ruins your gloves, let me know. I'll send you another pair because I'll feel bad. But nobody's ever.
So you don't recommend like just hand washing or something? You actually.
If you keep up with that, yeah, that's all you need. But if they get really bad and you give up and you don't want to spend 2 hours trying to pick the propolis off, that's an option.
So with hand washing the gloves, what do you recommend that they use, detergent or soap wise?
Something mild, which I know won't work real well for propolis. So if you let it get out of hand, you're going to have to go with method 2 probably.
Okay. What's your most popular selling glove?
By a long ways, it's this what we call the Pro model in black, and probably the size large. I go by size, so size large, medium, Pro is next.
Okay.
And then
those
these
are
heavy duties are coming.
Cowhide or
these are the goat skin.
The goat skin. Okay.
Oh no, I'm showing.
I'm used to goat skin just looking off-white, you know. So.
Right. Yeah. Well, they can be any color. So I thought, well, they're gonna turn this color anyway. So.
Okay, they're gonna eventually be
brown,
that. Yeah. All right. And then these are your longest gloves. Now, these are designed obviously to go over your sleeve.
Correct.
Now, do you have any complaints about those cuffs not being long enough, or?
If you do not put your suit over top, and it depends on your suit. If you've got a suit that latches with the Velcro, you're going to be in good shape because that's designed for that exact thing right here, and it's going to stay high enough. Bees will sting through this area very easily and mercilessly, so that's got to be covered. So if you cover it with your suit, that's thick enough to stop any sting. That's pretty thick at that point.
Okay.
If you've got a suit with worn out old elastic, then you're not going to like these.
Okay.
Now our new suits coming out, these are already prepared for those because our suits are going to have the fuzzy Velcro that's going to latch right to this Velcro.
Okay.
So they're not going to fall down. So yeah, we just were rethinking it. My brother was using mechanics gloves to do beekeeping because he couldn't do much with the floppy all leather gloves, and I thought, well, it shouldn't be too hard to fix that.
Okay, and your website is apistactical.com. Okay, gloves, conditioner, hive tools, what else?
Yeah, we're developing an entire line of workwear and activewear. This is some examples of tactical pants for workwear. This is a shirt that we have available now. Is it specifically for beekeeping? Not necessarily, although it would be a wonderful choice to wear under your beekeeping suit because it's comfortable, it's breathable, it's a sport fabric like a fisherman's shirt. We have some other examples. This polo shirt that I'm wearing is another example. It's got
with a hexagonal pattern on it. Yep.
Yeah, if you can see closer up. So we have 3 different styles of that are cool, but we're also focusing on women's styles. So we've got specifically styled and sized for women a line of polo shirts.
Okay.
So as we go on, we're going to be developing more of that because I thought, hey, for beekeepers, we should have our own brand.
Yeah. Okay.
Just like Nike or any of those, Under Armour.
All right. Well, I want to thank you a lot for your time, Jeff, and we've got your web address and everything else.
Sure.
I hope you get some good response. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay.